Hello and welcome to DCP Side Quest. I mean, live. We were just talking about Elden Ring and this screwed me up. I said Side Quest, damn it.
It happened
DCP
again.
Live.
That wasn't a joke?
That was not a joke. That was a legit slip of my brain. It's episode number 286 of the Fat TWAB experience.
Fat TWAB edition.
Yeah. Fat TWAB.
Twabbing TWAB.
It's also because we didn't have a side quest, so
Yeah, there's no side
All
quest
out
this
of
What a
week.
side quest.
Yeah. So no more DCP. We're doing side quests now. All right.
That'll get him.
Yeah. So welcome to the show.
Welcome.
We got a lot to cover.
yeah.
Oh my god.
We should probably
So many Australian facts. I'm so excited.
so many. How many did you prepare, Mylon?
Okay, I actually, because it's going to be.
Remember last
very
week
in-depth.
you were unprepared and didn't have anything, and then you
Yes.
said, "Oh, I need to prepare something." So is it 2
I
weeks in a
did
row?
prepare.
Okay.
So if you would like, they're not facts, but there's Australian slangs and they're pretty good.
Okay.
okay.
So we'll
I
see.
do like the slang.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's one of my faves.
So first one,
Yes.
Yes.
if somebody was a bludger, what would they be?
A bully?
Pretty good bloke.
No,
An executioner.
no,
A forward player on a rugby team.
incorrect.
Fighter.
Let
A good party
can I put in
person.
a sentence for it.
Yeah. Sentence. I need a lifeline.
A defensive player on a Hogwarts team.
Okay.
I can't remember the name of that sport.
Bludgeon.
I was driving my car, and I saw some roadworks, and they're all bludgeon.
Either a good job of what they're doing, someone's good at their work, or bad at their work.
Closer to bad.
That's broad
Uh,
paintbrush you're painting with.
It's-
I mean,
it's- it's
Australian.
really
It's Australian facts and lingo. You know.
I told you it's a good episode.
Like fair dinkum is good. And fair dinkum totally could be like, oh, you really fair dinkum that, you know?
Yeah.
Right?
It's being
Can
lazy.
I get a
Lazy.
Oh, lazy.
Oh.
A
Someone's a
bludger
bludger.
is lazy.
Bludger.
Yeah, being like really lazy. Yeah,
Oh.
yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah. You could
Like
yeah,
a defensive
half-assed as
player on a
well.
Hogwarts
Yeah.
team.
Yeah,
We all know that
Yeah.
the only point that
Bludgers.
matters is the person who gets the snitch. Like the whole game is a lie
Oh, yeah,
until
it's
somebody,
garbage.
until that
Until the
golden
snitch is
fucker
caught.
comes out and everybody just chases that thing around.
Yeah.
yep.
So would
Only
you
one way.
say your Elden Ring character is a bludger? Or no?
They're not very lazy, no, but they might be bludgeoning people with a hammer or something. different type of bludger. If-
Double meaning.
If I was chock-a-block, what would I be?
Chock-a-block?
Chalk or
block.
chuck?
This is in England as well, so I won't say nothing.
Is it chalk or chuck?
Chock. C.
Like chock full of nuts?
O C.
Chalk.
Like chocolate. Chock-a-block.
Chock-a-block.
Like eat a huge block of the deliciousness?
I think a really stupid
You're on the
person,
right
like
track.
you've got such a blockhead that you've got more than one blockhead.
But you're a chocolate blockhead. That's it,
You're a
Brian.
chocolate blockhead.
Choco tacos.
Incorrect.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty positive.
Yeah,
I can
are
check
you-
the dictionary if you like.
Did you double
Yeah,
check?
can we
this?
get a
Yeah.
ruling on that one from the Jeopardy judges?
No.
It's after you had a good meal, you'd say I'm chock-a-block. Like if you can't eat, you're stuffed.
Oh,
you
you're
can't
full
eat
up?
any more food.
full up?
Yeah,
stuff,
like
Oh.
Chri-
Not even a
Christmas
tiny
lunch-
mint.
Christmas lunch, you'd be like,
It's
I'm
just
chock-a-block.
one little thin mint.
No,
You're
couldn't do it.
chocked full up to a block.
Yeah, I don't
Like
know.
you ate like the block of a car engine. You're just full.
You're like actually the shape of a block because you're chocked full of food.
Because you're yeah.
Yeah.
This
so if
makes
someone
perfect sense.
offers you like seconds, you'd be like, nah, mate, I'm chock-a-block. That would be perfectly
Chock a
acceptable.
block.
Can
And
I
they-
get an
and they'd say-
etymology?
and they'd
How
say-
did that come about?
I didn't look
Zenko
up the
also
origin
has
story.
a good point in that you can also use it when you're really busy. It's like your calendar is
Rude.
chock-a-block.
Oh,
Oh, it's
Yeah.
full up.
Rude.
Got it.
all right.
Full up.
My Callie's full up,
Interesting.
mate.
Your block is chocked. You know?
Uh-huh.
That's what happens. And then they say, fair dinkum.
Yeah, exactly.
Fair dinkum.
Now, I thought people would know this one, but I tested it on chat and no one knew it. Copper.
Interesting.
Copper. That's a cop. That's the fuzz.
No.
That's the
Cobber.
5-0, the popo.
No, not
the
copper.
material?
Cobber.
Cobber.
C-O-B-B-E-R.
Like peach cobbler?
Oh, cobber.
Cobber.
Oh, you fix shoes.
Cobber.
Like a cobbler.
That's a cobbler.
I thought you just had bad
That's
pronunciation.
nickname for a cobbler. Yeah.
Okay,
That's
cobber.
Cobber.
A cobbler.
What would be
Cobber.
a cobber? Someone, they're the person who has to apply the shine onto apples in the apple orchard.
Correct.
Good guess. Good guess.
Good, yes, good try.
They're the person who raises eels. A cobber.
They have to be raised.
Yeah,
I mean,
you don't have an
what's the
eel
try?
raiser in your town?
An eel
It's
specialist?
the word for an authentic paint scratcher. Authorized
true.
by the government.
Yeah.
You don't want to be an inauthentic taint
No.
Certified. You have paperwork at scratching the taint.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yes, you've been certified.
Right,
Yeah.
you get the stamp. Every taint
It does
scratch.
bring a little
The test for
smile
that
to my
is
face
intense.
when I see taint scratcher in the YouTube comments still on the video.
That's
I'm like,
brilliant.
Oh, great.
Thank you.
Good job, everybody.
Shout out to everyone out there
Good job.
doing the Lord's work. Thank you.
We have an audience.
Licensed taint scratcher. Cobber is your mate. Is a good friend. Yeah, g'day, Cobber.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Because
Yeah,
he was a cobbler shining your shoes and fixing your shoes. He's your best friend.
Listen to all your
You
stories.
met
and
at the
the
shoe
origin of it.
store, right? Or at the police academy.
Yeah, I did try to look this up. There's not much information. It may be potentially a derivative of like comrade almost, cobber, somehow. I don't know.
Mm.
But g'day, cobber would be a nice greeting if you
Fair
say that
dinkum.
to someone.
Yeah,
Yep,
it's-
fair
I think
dinkum.
if somebody says
And I-
that to you, they're a cop. I think they're projecting, right? Avoid this person. Do not tell them your innermost deep secrets because they're going to use them against you in a court of law.
Mhm.
I think Briar's hearing it as like, hey, coppa, you know, like he's some
Copper.
20s gangsta.
Mhm.
Hey, you see the capo around the street.
He's
okay?
hearing it like Cockney copper. Copper.
Guys,
I've
we
got
have
a couple more.
Also
but
would like
I feel like
a little bit of history on Cockney, honestly.
yeah,
Because
fill
that
in the
one's fun to
blanks.
say.
Cockney slang is interesting. Yeah.
Just the word.
Yeah,
alone.
why did it become Cockney?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's from the cock.
I think
Is there a cock district in?
there was a
England?
length requirement at some point to be Cockney.
Oh my gosh! You said you have a couple more, Malin?
yeah, I'll give you because we've got a busy episode. I'll give you
We do,
one
we do.
more, and I'll save some for next week. So this
Okay.
one, I believe you have an American version of it, or something that has the same function. So I'm just gonna do the sound / noise.
Look up
Where
bird
would you
call?
say that? When would you?
Can I
do
get a
that? It's very
repeat on the
common.
noise? Can I get a
Oh,
repeat?
it's when a car when you're playing with soccer and stuff and football in the street and a car's coming. Cooey.
No, it's
Mm.
not that.
It's like a game off.
Yeah,
Drag
game
the
off.
nets to the
Cooey.
side.
Or when you're a local neighborhood and you're up to no good cooking drugs in the basement with all the other kids and the cops are on the way.
I
You
think it's
gotta
when
have
you
a signal.
jump your Dodge Charger over a dirt ramp and you yell in the middle of the air, "Cooey!"
Maybe getting closer.
And then the cops drop off the ramp because they hit the brakes. They're not
Yeah.
brave like you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yell. You go through.
I have no idea.
So if I was on a bushwalk, I was going for a bit of a
Bushwalk.
hike, and I found like a cave or a valley. That's what you yell into it, right? Because you get the echo. You go, "Coo-ee," and it like comes back, and it's origins is from like calling in the bush to see if someone's in like earshot because it just travels for whatever reason. So it's like
so it's
you
like how we
yell-
say Ricola.
Someone said you have
Yes, bro.
something equivalent like yee yee or something like that.
Yee.
Yee
I think
yee. Is
most
that
people
right?
just yell Echo.
Yeah. Yeah, most people just yell echo if they want a
Mylan
feedback.
heard that in America they say yeehaw, and he was like, oh, yeah.
Anyway, try
Try
Kui.
ooey.
It's a great. It's a great.
It's
Yeah,
cooey,
cooey.
not ooey.
Yeah. COOEE. Kui.
Huh. Next time you're
Cooey.
spelunking a cave.
Yeah. Next time you're spelunking, or even just like walk,
So,
you know,
like,
big open area.
This weekend.
Yeah. What are you doing Friday?
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Thank you for coming to Australian Slang.
Thank you for
Uh,
those
well,
slang facts.
Thank you for bringing the facts. Man.
Yeah,
that was
thank
that
you.
was intense.
I appreciate.
I feel like
all of it.
I know more and more about Australian culture every day.
Every show for sure.
Yeah, definitely every week.
Yeah, I've definitely increased my Australian IQ. And on that note, let's increase our Destiny IQ with what's happening
boy.
with this giant fat twab about season
Uh,
It
17.
is the most epic TWAB. Is this the most epic TWAB we've ever seen? Like, all right,
the
just
biggest
on
one.
word count alone, is it the biggest one we've ever seen?
I
Yeah,
think
I think
so.
they said. I think they confirmed it. It's like 9,000 words.
Yeah.
8,000.
And it's just
9,000?
about weapons.
That's bigger than the King James Bible. I'm pretty sure. Look it up.
Yeah, we'll go with yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
for
we
sure,
go with
100%.
And we have fellow Australian who says good day, Guardian.
Yeah.
Good day.
Guardians.
Yeah, Mylan,
It's
how
the-
would you
the
say
G
that?
apostrophe is a good. Good day, Guardians.
Good day,
G-
Goodians.
Gideons.
Gideons.
Goodians.
Gideons.
Gotta Gideons.
Good day, Goodians. It's all about sandbox stuff. A lot of
Yeah.
weapon things. And we're going to do our best to go through all of it so you have the information. But we may miss out on some very, 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 very specific things. So if you would like to read it yourself at any point to get the super uber duper details, make sure to read it. But hopefully you should come away from this having a pretty good idea of what's going on.
Yeah, this is going to be somewhat high level, high to mid level. We're not going to get granular with every single number change.
I am going to read the full 9,000 words starting now. This week at
Right.
Bungie -4 21 2022.
Go on.
Just kidding. I'm not going to do
8
that.
hour A_DMG 04. But
This
what I
week at
do-
Bungie.
This week at Bungie. The TWAB.
Yeah.
What I definitely do want to hit on is like the goals that Proctor is putting here because it
Yeah.
really helps you to understand the reason why they're making changes and kind of what they're hoping to achieve.
Mhm.
Because then you could say, hey, this ain't achieving those goals at all.
Yeah. Hey, man. Them goes.
I mean,
Hey, man. By the way, when you
so-
get
yeah.
tired from reading,
I'll put my
section,
hand up.
Yeah, you could.
I think you should
toss
just
it.
assign. You should
Give
be,
the signal.
I'll
Just-
wave in a
just
panic
say-
before I pass out.
yeah, just tell us what we should do. Tell us what we should read. How about that?
Yes.
Assigned reading.
Yes,
Yes.
like right now.
Do you want to
figure
kick it off?
We'll figure it out.
Like I said, when you get
Um,
tired of it, like kick it to someone
get
else.
tired-
and- yeah.
So these changes are coming in season 17, which is beginning May 24th. So they're not going to be coming right away, but it's going to be at the beginning of next season.
Yeah, it's only a month away.
Yeah.
It's
Real
not
quick.
that far away.
Real quick before you dig in further, it's interesting that they're dropping this much info before the season. Like you were talking about that, Brian,
Yes.
earlier. It's like it's a month,
Yeah.
right? Like what else?
Yeah,
they
like
got
what else
planned?
do they have to talk about that they're dropping this now? Like, because we know we're getting new subclass upgrades, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So like,
Yes.
what else? Like, what are the next TWABs going to
Yeah.
be? That this one has to come out a month before the new season to clear the path for whatever's coming next.
Yeah, and there was also some developers on Twitter, if you've been watching, saying they're the most excited they've ever been about season 17 stuff coming.
What are they
So,
doing?
Yeah, what are they doing in the lab, huh?
What's
What kind
going
of stuff
on
they
here?
cooking up?
It's Gambit, isn't it?
There's Gambit in there.
Renewed focus on Gambit.
Renee Fogan. Competitive Gambit. We have gone away with the comp playlist, and we are bringing you competitive Gambit.
All right.
So we're going to be going over, of course, goals from the team, Glaives, Flinch and Airborne gameplay, tuning one-hit kills in the Crucible, and general tuning for special ammo, exotic weaponry, legendary, and a slew of weapon perks. So, Chris Proctor kicks it off talking about things that are coming in Season 17, and we're introducing levers to tune how players build for Airborne gunplay. Now, these are huge changes, like fundamental system
sweeping changes.
changes. Not just like we're
Yeah.
buffing, all hand cannons or whatever. This is
Like
this is
the
crazy.
addition of a new stat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This reminds me of like how the game changed after year 1. Like the epicness of changes.
Mm-hmm.
So Destiny has extremely fluid and expressive airborne movement, but that movement must be balanced against grounded players, lest it become oppressive. We want players who enjoy that playstyle to be able to build into it, but they'll have to make tough choices about what they leave behind to do so. Successfully engaging in the air will no longer be as simple as put Icarus Grip mod on it, but the upside for heavily investing in it will be higher. We're then going to have something to do with players mitigating for flinch. Excessive flinch is a frequent complaint from players, most importantly when using primary weapons and taking large chunks of damage from enemies. Players should be able to invest in flinch resistance, and baseline flinch should be lower on primary weapons, but hand-tuned per archetype so that the weapons that need flinch resistance have the easiest access to it. They're also going to be reducing the number of one-hit kills in PvP. Sandbox overall wants to reduce the number of one-hit kills, shifting combat more towards primary gunplay. With weapons, this means tuning special weapons, both the effectiveness of specific weapons and special weapon uptime overall, and one key primary outlier. And then they also want to address common feedback on weapons across all game modes. So they're going to be looking at legendaries and exotics that are overperforming or underperforming and make adjustments depending on that. And the first thing they're taking a look at is glaives. Glaives, I think initially they kind of did everything and they had to reel them in because you got to think about it. It's a long range thing, it's a stabby thing, it's a shield. It does.
I think it's good though because you don't want to have something hit kind of middling and then people go, why would I ever use this? I have much better
agree.
options. I think it's come in
For
hot
something new to
and then
hit,
dial it back.
exactly. Come in hot and then dial it back, because if it comes in dialed back, then everybody's gonna be like wah wah.
Yeah.
Which is what they are right now. They're wah-wahing on the glaives.
Yeah.
Because the only thing that really made glaives exciting was suppressing glaive on hunters specifically. Really. That was the fun part about glaives. So, we've noticed that several aspects of how glaives interact with weapon and armor perks don't match player expectations, and they want to change that in Season 17. A glaive melee is a basic melee attack, not a weapon attack, doesn't consume ammo, and deals kinetic damage, so it's much more like an unpowered punch than a sword swing. So that's, you just got a regular punch is your glaive.
Regular melee. Yep.
Allowing buffs to weapon damage to apply to glaive melees would be too powerful for something without an ammo limitation, particularly in PvP, where even a small damage buff would allow for incredibly fast 2-hit kills. Also, in general, we'd prefer to increase glaive melee damage directly, as we're doing, in fact, instead of effectively making weapon damage perks mandatory on glaives. Glaives already have a long lunge distance, and increasing this at all results in unreliable behavior over the network. So no melee lunge distance buffs apply to glaive melees. So here's the intent that they want to hit with these glaive adjustments. And if you are someone that uses glaives often, I would love to hear if you think that this is what glaives need. And if not,
I almost always run a glaive ever since they've been introduced.
The glaive
as a new weapon. Far from that, but as a new weapon, it's very interesting, right? To use a glaive.
Yeah, they're fun. Stabbing things is cool.
Briar's the glaive Kaba.
Yes. Fair enough.
More correct than glaive master.
So the intent with these glaive changes: glaive melee should activate perks that trigger off base melee damage or kills. For example, ammo refill from Grave Robber. Weapon damage buff 5 times stacks on Swashbuckler. And ammo refill from Sealed Ahamkara Grasps. Glaive melees should not activate perks that trigger off powered melee damage or kills or require expending subclass melee energy, such as Combination Blow or Assassin's Cowl. Glaive melee should benefit from melee damage buffs, such as Winter's Gwillies or Worm God Caress. Glaive melee should not benefit from weapon damage buffs such as Rampage, Kill Clip, etc. And Glaive projectiles should benefit from weapon damage buffs. Basically, if you just think about it as like your melee is a freaking punch, an uncharged punch, then it all makes a lot more sense. So with those expectations set, there's some inconsistencies with how they are implemented into the game. So here's what they changed during season 16, which was just some quality of life changes. So Glaive projectile hits to reach maximum energy decreased from 6 to 4. Glaive melee can now be interrupted by Hunter's dodge. The Grave Robber perk now pulls from reserves on glaives instead of regenerating ammo. Glaives no longer get stuck in clang recovery when using a melee attack on each other. Sealed Ahamkar Grass no longer reload glaives on projectile hits, but does on melee hits. Glaive melees can no longer stun lock high health combatants. Unfortunate.
That's
And
unfortunate.
Glaive, that was the fun part.
Yeah.
Glaive melee kills are now tracked in match history for bounties and so forth. So here's what's coming in season 17 to Glaives to hopefully make them better. We're pushing Glaives deeper into their roles of hard-hitting melee damage and near-complete protection when shielded, as well as increasing projectile speed to make them more reliable. So the Glaive shield grants 97.5% damage resistance in PvE and 75% in PvP.
That's good.
It's a chonky shield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Donk shield.
Increased melee damage versus PvE enemies, except for bosses and vehicles, by 25%. So you can go in there and stab things, kill things faster.
And
I
that's
like
the
that.
regular melee damage, right? Just
Yeah.
standard melee. Yeah.
Regular slapping. Reduced energy drain speed while shielded by 30%.
It's good.
Increased projectile speed dependent on the range stat. So at 0, you get an increase from 30 to 60 ms. And at 100 of your range stat, it goes from 80 to 100.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
MS would be meters per second, one would assume.
Probably.
Yeah.
I would say
my
that's
guess.
meters per second.
I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Sounds cool. So you want you want a higher range stat for your glaive, basically. Next they have some specifics about exotic glaives, which have all been buffed, which I know people were pretty upset about them. I don't have the Hunter one yet because people got it and they were like, meh. So I was like, I'll take my time.
You like
I don't need to rush it.
Elden
I'll do
Ring.
it after Elden Ring. So the Titan Glaive, players now gain a Void Overshield while inside the bubble, and Helm of Saint 14 now applies to this bubble as it does for Ward of Dawn.
Really? Wow.
Very cool.
That's cool.
Very, very
So you get an overshield while you're inside the bubble. So you get like a double bubble.
Double bubble.
Double bubble.
Plus Helm of Saint 14 applies to the bubble as well as it does for Ward of Dawn. Okay. That's interesting.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like that change.
Yeah.
For this actually seems like it might be pretty nice for Titans. Warlock Glaive, increased speed and acceleration of the healing turret projectiles. Now, without knowing like how much of an increase, this could be amazing, where the healing projectiles are just freaking flying everywhere and healing everyone, or it could be bad. Who knows?
Yeah.
Hunter Glaive tripled the damage of the wave detonation and increased the number of enemies it can chain to from 4 to 8.
That sounds
It's got to be good, right? It's got to be
Sounds
good.
like it.
It's got to be good.
If it's still
Bigger
not good after
explosion,
that,
and they
then
doubled.
yikes. Yeah, tripled the damage of the wave detonation.
Plus,
And,
they doubled how many enemies it hits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
That's gotta
sounds
be
like fun explosions right now, probably.
Maybe.
So,
Or maybe it's only useful against like the most low-powered enemies.
Yeah, Thrall.
Otherwise,
That is
it's
possible.
just
Got a bunch
Yeah.
of Thrall in front of you? Sure, go at it.
yeah.
yeah. that is
Otherwise, switch to something better.
Yeah.
So that is Glaives. Now we get into the nitty-gritty fun global changes, fundamental system changes,
Yeah.
starting with Flinch. So aim deflection on receiving damage, typically called Flinch. Aim deflection on
Aim-
receiving damage.
Aim deflection.
Never call it that again. That's too much. It's too much. It's a common pain point, particularly on primary ammo weapons. We've rebuilt the stability weapon stat to grant flinch resistance in addition to its other effects, with a maximum flinch resistance of 10 to 25% depending on weapon archetype. With this
Hold
change,
up.
yes,
I'm sorry.
yes.
The stability weapon stat did not include flinch before this.
It just made the gun like fire more stably, but it didn't
Okay.
reduce the flinch. that
Was-
you received.
Was previous to this was flinch just like a flat across the board weapon type thing? Like all sniper rifles had the same amount of flinch?
The weapon perks, right? Impacted flinch.
Weapon
Okay.
perks did, yeah.
Yeah.
and armor mods.
And armor mods, yep. So now this is going to be, you get stability, you have 10 to 25%, depending on your weapon archetype, less flinch. So that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
with
but
this
hard
change,
to measure without actually like going into the crucible and like measuring, right? Like,
Well, would you like 0.8, 0.8, 0.9, 0.65? Is that the math you want, Briar? Because we can go through it.
that
can read
sounds
it.
more like a
You can read it.
Wednesday podcast kind of thing.
So with this change, players can build 4 flinch resistance more easily on weapons that feel flinch more than others, and less so on special weapons, which we don't want to be easier to use when under fire. So from internal playtests, they said that you may not feel the difference when using just one source of flinch resistance, but when stacking 2 or more sources, the benefit is very, very strong. So note that the higher zoom weapons are affected more by flinch, which we took into account when tuning these numbers. So I'm going to read these numbers, which are just for archetypes, and then maybe we don't read the nitty gritty because that's a Wednesday podcast, like Bryce.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the breakdown for flinch resistance with 100 stability. You've maxed your stability on all of these weapon archetypes. You're going to get 25% on auto rifle, submachine gun, and bow, 20% on pulse rifle, scout rifle, sidearm, machine gun, 15% on hand cannon, trace rifle, and then 10% on fusion rifle, shotgun, sniper, grenade launcher, linear fusion rifle, and rocket launchers.
This makes a lot of sense to me because if
Yeah.
you're one of those people that just absolutely complains about flinch for the last 7 years, then now you have recourse. You can build into reducing your flinch.
Yeah, you'd want to get a
You want-
sniper rifle with as much stability as possible to reduce that
Yeah.
flinch, right?
Which is interesting because I'm pretty sure everyone ignores stability entirely on
Yeah.
snipers because you're not exactly
Like,
shooting it
why would
rapidly
it's a wasted
Yeah.
stat on a gun like that
It is,
until
it is.
now.
until now.
Yeah, but it is
And that gives you a
interesting-
reason to start grinding for new. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
Smart.
but it is interesting though. It only goes up to 25% for weapons because you still have that other 75% that you need to cover through things like you're about to read, right?
Now, also worth noting that if you have a stability stat below 20, it will technically have small flinch resistance penalty, but only around 5 weapons have a stability stat in that range. So just check your weapons and make sure that it's above 20 stability.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you will have a penalty. So when penalties
check
are
all
bad.
500 of them right after this podcast.
Yeah, your entire vault.
Now, here is an interesting one, which makes Titans kind of winning out of this. The resilience
Nice. Glad to hear
character
it.
stat, resilience, now grants flinch resistance of 0% at 0 and 10% at 100.
Fascinating.
Man, I'm just waiting to
Mhm.
see if True Vanguard bring back his air sniper with his Titan.
Did he? Yeah, it was.
Oh, with 100 resilience,
Yeah.
100 stability.
I think
So
it's
if you
cool.
had
that-
I think
yeah,
it's cool.
It gives another reason to spec into something like resilience. I know they've been slowly increasing that stat for other reasons, through different, different things that it boosts. But I think it's great to see it get tied to something else that would be beneficial to actually build for in your character setup.
Well, currently I just ignore resilience, right? I'm like, I don't.
That's what
really
I've done in
don't
the
need it.
past, but it's been more like, for warlocks, like your resilience tied to the health of the sword for doing your the piss pool. It's tied to the bubble health, right? Or actually, did they change that? I could be wrong on that. They changed the bubble health. It was a flat stat.
No, it's resilience, yeah.
It's still resilient.
based
Yeah.
on
Okay. Yeah.
resilience. Mhm.
So it's cool that you
Yeah.
can stack that now and have more flinch reduction if you really spec into resilience. It's great.
I think I'm definitely interested to see how PvP community respond to all the changes and building into. It's very specific now for a PvP build like Flinch, and we're about to get to Airborne as well.
Hmm.
I do think it's probably going to distill down to like if you want to be on an even playing field, most people are gonna end up speccing into very similar things.
Sure.
But I don't know if that's a bad thing. You know, I think maybe that's what PvPers want. I don't know. But it'd be interesting to see, because I definitely feel sometimes when you go into PvP, you feel like if you don't have the base stats, you're already at a disadvantage. And I think Flinch and Airborne is probably going to be two big stats people build into, because if you're not rocking them, you might be feeling you're not even at a foundational level for your build. Do you know what I mean? So it'd be interesting to see what else you can do on top of that, or is your entire build like done?
Well, they give an
just getting to,
example
like,
that
Flinch
you can
and,
get
like,
to
yeah.
you can get up to 90% flinch resistance, which could be, like, for me, like, it could be a problem, because there are certain instances where I feel like, for instance, like if I'm shooting somebody with a scout rifle in the Crucible and they are using a sniper rifle and I get the first shot off, but right after my first shot, they zoom in on my head and snipe me. Like, I'm thinking like, well, there should be some flinch there because I got the first shot off. They shouldn't be able to just like zoom right in, and you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm honestly interested to see how it goes, and maybe that's where PvP builds should be, is into these stats. And your PvE builds are all the crazy explosions and, like, you know, ad clearing, and your PvP builds are your flinches and your airborne gunplay, your recovery, your mobility, or those other things that are typically already in your PvP builds.
So Briar did mention that you can get to 90% flinch resistance. I'm not going to give you the breakdown of all the numbers, but the way that they're
a lot
getting
of numbers.
when they
We still have Mercury's phone number, or did he change it to get rid of us?
Possible. So this would be a 100 stability stat Suros regime, 10 resilience, no distractions, and 2 unflinching pulse rifle armor mods, while buffed by rally barricade. That gives you 90% flinch resistance. Now, a little bit more reliable thing would be 39% flinch resistance, which is a 70 stability stat hand cannon, 5 resilience, 1 unflinching hand cannon armor mod. That gets you 39%.
Yeah.
So
is flinch resistance going to modify how often you get flinch, or how far your reticle moves in the instance that you are?
I think it's how aggressive it is.
So how far it moves?
Yeah, like the overall intensity. You can be like.
Does it also change the direction it moves? Because like if you could narrow your flinch window, and it can narrow it to only going up.
I'm pretty sure flinch is still random in terms of how you get your reticle shoved, or the direction. Because you're thinking like recoil direction. Recoil direction is
in some instances flinch has been only vertical, right?
Yeah. Actually, I don't know. That's a firing range question.
Watch Firing Range every other Wednesday night on DCP Live.
So now we're going to Airborne gunplay, which is an entirely different thing.
New.
Just
one's crazy.
New Destiny change.
Yeah. So before getting to build crafting, we've made a fundamental change to the modifiers applied while airborne. Your primary weapons will have less randomness in projectile accuracy in most cases. You'll have less aim assist instead, and will need precise aiming to land your shots without building heavily into airborne. So just right off the bat, I really like this, because instead of you being in the air and missing because of your accuracy being messed up while you're in the air, even though you have the reticle over someone's head perfectly aimed, you miss because of the accuracy. But instead, they're going to be taking away your aim assist. So it's going to be harder to have your reticle directly on the person. But if you do, you're going to hit them.
Yeah. I 100% agree with you, Watts. It feels shitty. Like, if in a way that like Fallout 3 felt shitty when you had the reticle perfectly aimed, but the bullet just went randomly because of RNG. Like, if I aim perfectly, I feel like I should land the shot. You know what I'm saying? But to make it harder to aim perfectly, that logically makes sense in this instance, especially for airborne. This is a really smart change to me.
It sounds really good. Yeah.
It sounds good. Like less of the randomness and where you can actually control it, and it's based on you aiming better.
Yeah. It's definitely gonna. It seems like it would benefit mouse and keyboard players more than controller players.
My biggest concern with that, when they say aim assist, and all that. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
it's so easy to aim and jump on mouse and keyboard, like just to be dead on every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely possible that it will be more difficult for controller players to hit accurately in the air.
Hmm.
But I would say if you are good at hitting your shots, you shouldn't be upset about this change. Okay, moving on.
Yep.
So we've added a
I'm
new
very upset.
Angry.
We've added a new weapon stat, Airborne Effectiveness, which is present on all weapons except those where being airborne doesn't have an effect, such as swords, which maps onto aspects of airborne gunplay using these guidelines. So, with little to no investment into this new airborne effectiveness stat, which would be 0 to 30 of your airborne stat, a character will have a smaller accuracy penalty than right now, but will have significantly lower aim assist. So 0 to 30. You've invested like nothing.
No.
Just to clarify, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I got to backtrack just a hair. This is going to be on every weapon moving forward. Like your
Yes.
weapon now has an airborne stat.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yep.
It's a big change.
With
Okay,
minimal investment, which they're saying is 31 to 50 of the airborne stat, a character will have around the same in-air accuracy as an Icarus equipped weapon right now, but with noticeably lower aim assist. So I would say that if you are someone who is really good at hitting your shots, just in general, you have good aim, you probably don't need to go higher than this.
Yeah.
Like if you can hit your shots, this is probably fine because you're gonna have the same accuracy as you do now with Icarus, but you have less aim assist, so that shouldn't be a problem if you're
Mhm.
a good aim.
Yep.
With substantial investment, which would be 51 to 70 airborne stat, a character will have better accuracy than right now weapons with Icarus, with fewer misses due to randomness, but with reduced aim assist. So you're still having less aim assist with 51 to 70. With
This seems like the
special-
sweet spot to me.
51 to 70,
Yeah, because you
better
get
accuracy.
fewer misses due to reminisce, but you still get the reduced aim assist, but fewer misses than you currently have with Icarus.
With specialized investment, which is 71 to 99 airborne stat, a character will have no airborne accuracy penalty with very slightly less aim assist.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder how that's
You like
gonna
playing
feel.
Halo.
Right?
I'm telling you, True Vanguard's bringing that Sky Sniper back.
And then with full investment, which is 100 airborne stat, a character will have no airborne accuracy penalty and the same aim assist.
Wow.
So I wonder if there's going to be that trade-off. Like, would it be possible to have some Goldilocks, build of both flinch and in-air accuracy? Have them like basically
know.
maxed out, or as maxed out as possible?
I don't know.
That's sort of what I was saying before. They'll very quickly distill to
Mm-hmm.
what you need to have the best flinch reduction and air accuracy. And it'll be interesting to see how PvP feels with that. And if you don't build into it, do you feel like you're just getting shot, people flying around in the air shooting you,
Yeah,
and
because
you feel disadvantaged?
yeah,
it's
if, like, if-
gonna be based on your play style too. If you're not gonna get any
Yeah.
any benefit from airborne accuracy if you mostly run around on the ground and never try and shoot people while you're jumping.
Yeah.
And it seems like the top 80% of this, like you're gonna have to be using a long range weapon as well to get the full benefit. Like shooting a hand cannon in the sky is not gonna theoretically get benefit from the 71 to 99%.
why not?
The
Because
flinch
your
is only
effective range with a hand cannon isn't long enough to take advantage. Theoretically.
Yeah, but-
Like I'm just guessing.
Yeah, but it's reduced randomness, so it's even more accurate. Like your hand cannon is even more accurate while jumping up. I feel like hand cannon
Yeah,
uses
but how accurate does it need to be before it starts losing damage numbers and becomes an ineffective weapon at that range?
you just talk about range.
Yeah, but that's
At
gonna
distance.
Yeah, that shouldn't affect it.
those go together, right? It's like because you're
Well, you're not going
it's
to be
harder to
jumping in
aim
the air
at
and
farther
shooting.
ranges, right? Especially when you don't have aim assist.
You're not going to be jumping in the air and shooting someone across the map. It's like the jumping around the corner and then hitting someone.
I know that.
And if you
I
can,
know that.
if if between 71 to 100 basically reduces misses that are random, and you're a person who likes to, stompies, hand cannon, like, seems like you would definitely want to spec into that.
Oh, you're gonna need a lot of airborne accuracy if you're using Stompies, my friend, which we'll get to. You're gonna need a lot of airborne.
But I actually think it's gonna be interesting to see what movement looks like in PvP. Like, this could very fundamentally tip it to the point of being almost seeming like a different game, because you can now jump in the air and shoot.
It could change stuff if people like get to that 100 airborne stat and they're like, oh my god, I can hit everything no matter how much I'm jumping, no matter what I'm doing. Then people might actually start gravitating towards that more than they do now. It's possible.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people get put off from in-air accuracy because it just isn't, unless you're using a hand cannon, it isn't as reliable. So you stop trying to do that. But if there's ways to get to high accuracy while you're jumping with most weapons, I feel like that's going to become very beneficial.
I mean, look how Halo engagements play out. Every engagement almost starts and finishes with a jump, right?
Yeah.
You jump around a corner, and then you shoot a bit, and you jump again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if that's gonna happen.
Yeah,
Maybe.
It definitely changes interactions a lot.
It's very possible.
I'm interested to see.
So note that this will be a hidden stat at Season 17 launch, similar to aim assist and recoil direction, but you will be able to see it through the API. So dim and everything else, you'll be able to see what your stat is. And then in Season 18, all of those hidden stats, it sounds like all of the hidden stats will be visible on the weapon inspection screen.
That's great.
Season 17 starts in May. Season 18 sometime in the summer.
Yeah, 3 months after. Yeah.
That's cool that they're actually putting those hidden stats on in general, the aim assist as well.
I like
and
that,
the recoil direction. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to go into dim or light GG or whatever to look at them.
Yeah.
Now the next section is a lot of talk about accuracy codes.
Oh, I don't get this one. I read this and I was like, I don't get it. I just took away cones. Cones. The cones. What do they mean?
Okay, so
Can we
I'm
find
gonna read it and I'm gonna try and make sense of it as I'm reading it. Okay. Aim assist cone penalty angles. Example: auto aim angle, reticle friction adhesion angle, a high penalty to this angle at 0 stat, and a low or 0 penalty at 100 stat. Okay, that's not bad.
I don't get it. Explain it to me like you're explaining.
So imagine there's an ice cream cone at the end of your weapon, right? Like you have a gun and there's an ice cream cone sticking out of it.
What flavor?
And anywhere inside of that ice cream cone is where a bullet could potentially fire out of. So it's not necessarily coming directly straight out of the barrel, but it could be anywhere in that cone. The more you reduce the size of that cone, the more accurate your weapon is, and the more you increase the size of that cone, the less accurate your weapon is.
So 100 stat, your cone gets small. 0 stat, your cone gets big.
Jumbo.
Okay.
But big cone, not good cone. But
yes,
normally
big cone, bad cone.
Unless you're talking about waffle cones, which are the best cones?
Aim assist. Those words get aim assist cone penalty angle. I can't believe they've done this. What?
I swear, I thought I read the TWAB beforehand, but I think I blacked out during this part.
You might have.
I don't remember any of this.
Whoa, that's a lot of numbers and codes.
I had an aneurysm.
Woke up in a cold sweat. I said, where am I?
Okay. Now we're talking. Okay. Accuracy cone penalty angle for primary weapons. A lower penalty than currently at 0 stat. 0 penalty at 60 to 100. Basically, with primary weapons, you want 60 to 100. All right? There you
Sweet.
go.
All right.
60 100. Just take
Okay.
There you go.
Got
it. Accuracy cone penalty for special weapons. A slightly lower penalty than currently at 0 stat. 0 penalty at 100 stat.
0.
So if you're trying to do some shiz in the air with a special weapon,
With a
you're going to
special.
need 100.
You need 100. You need 100.
Trying to true
Okay.
vanguard it in the air.
Yes.
Are they... This is going to make more difference for certain weapons, obviously like a sniper rifle compared to like a grenade launcher, right?
Yeah, I would imagine.
I I'd assume so. You have to be more accurate, so you'd probably need the higher.
Yeah, it's gonna make a big difference in your ice cream cones.
Yes.
I think things like what slug shotguns are going to be.
Yeah.
Well, so talking about slugs, headshot aim assist. So we all know what aim assist is. We know
Yeah.
what that is. So-
Yes.
The
You gotta prepare
guiding
yourself for the next part.
hand
Okay,
of-
I'm just gonna read it. I can't promise I'm gonna understand this very next. Okay, headshot aim assistance 0 at 0 stat, 0 aim assist 0. 1
Okay.
degree, 1 degree at 100 stat on primary weapons, slug shotguns, linear fusion rifles, and machine guns, and 0.5 degrees on sniper rifles. If you have 100 stat.
So the degree is essentially the cone. You know, because like 360
angle.
degrees, yeah, it's
Is
like
it?
yeah, it's basically just giving you a little angle which can be formed as a cone. Like that's the degree, you know, that's the size.
That makes sense.
Yeah. The area at which it gets affected or starts or kicks in.
You know, they break it down a little bit for us,
Mhm.
a little bit. This controls how forgiving headshots are while airborne. If this is 0, you must be pinpoint aiming precisely at the head to get the headshot. Otherwise, you'll get a body shot even if your aim assist cone overlaps the head. So if you are not spec'd into this airborne accuracy shiz, you're going to have
You
to be
know help.
really good at aiming. You're going to
You actually have to hit the shot.
You actually
Yeah.
have to hit the shot instead of hit somewhere in the angle of the cone.
Wait,
Yeah.
what am I going to blame me dying on now?
The fact that you don't have aim
Network
assist.
latency.
Your
Oh,
cone.
yes,
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Don't
So it
forget
goes
about
the other
that.
way.
Good old net code.
Lag. Okay. Good. I hope
And,
they never get rid of lag because then I'm really stuffed.
And it's also worth noting that M&K also does have the aim assist, and I think you'll be surprised how much M&K players rely on
We
that
got
aim
a ton.
assist on Destiny.
Yeah.
If you do
if
not
ever-
play any other shooter, you may not know this, but you go play any other shooter, and goddamn,
Yeah. If you've ever
Destiny
been
aims
given
for
a
you.
shot and been like, that seemed kind of off, but okay. Aim
I
assist.
take those.
that's your cone being on him. You weren't aiming at him. Your cone
Yeah,
was in the
your
vicinity.
cone-
My
the
code
guiding
was on him.
the
You were
guiding hand of
Shooting him with
Bungie.
ice cream.
I upgraded to the waffle cone. You know what I'm saying? Got that big cone.
So previously, while airborne, players would get full aim assistance for headshots provided their aim assist cone overlapped the head at all.
Wow.
So reason you were
Damn.
missing was because of the accuracy cone, right? Like it was
Yeah.
all over the place. It felt totally random. But if you were using certain weapons that have a better accuracy in the air, if you were just within that range at all, you'd get a headshot. So you're not going to get that anymore. You're going to have to aim. I know. It's a little crazy. It's a little crazy.
Feels way better though.
Feels
'Cause
better
it-
because it's not
like-
random.
Yeah, it's
There's
up
a
to you.
tiny, there's a tiny bit of hope in my heart that I might be better at PvP, but I know it's a false hope. It's a false copia. Going, oh, maybe I can get better now. I was like, no, Matt, you can't aim.
well, it's just
You're gonna
nice.
be worse than before.
It's just nice to know that like it's technically things that you could look at and be like, oh, I see why I missed that shot. As opposed to
Yeah.
being like some random number decided that it wasn't going to calculate and hit. You know, even
Yeah.
though your
Yeah,
aim
fall
assist
off
was,
read.
yeah.
Yeah.
Pellet shotgun spread angle. Prepare yourselves. Plus 25% at 0 stat. 0 at 100 stat. I.e., more shotgun spread at low airborne effectiveness stat. So your shotgun is
Hobby.
going to have a better spread and more likely to hit if you have a higher stat.
Yeah, you see, this makes me think that you're going to be able to become quite the sniper with a shotgun, doing that jump around the corner with a shotgun type of thing, if you know how to spec into a tight focus cone of pellet spread.
I wish
Back
they
to
had
me
given us the
slow,
numbers.
Terry.
I wish they had given us the numbers for how it works now, specifically actually for pellet spread.
Yeah,
Tight
So we can
cones.
compare this.
That goes.
Cones.
them cones, my god.
Because a 0 at 100 stat would indicate that now we have the same spread as if we were standing still, right? Or on the ground.
I would assume so. Yeah.
Sure.
right?
Because you're getting 0 penalty at all.
Wow. This is going to be a big buff for people who spec into it and are good, right? Like this,
Yeah.
I think this change is going to increase the skill gap of this game.
Oh,
Well,
definitely.
you got to aim.
Yeah.
You got to actually like aim at the head to get the headshot.
You have to aim and spec into it. Like it's 2 parts.
There we go.
Mhm.
Okay. What this means overall is that you'll get fewer misses due to randomness from the accuracy cone while airborne, but reliance on aiming is much higher at low stat. To make this easier, you will need to build into airborne. With decent aim, you will land more body shots instead of crits. So it's basically it's literally just you're gonna have to aim. You're just gonna have to aim better. That's
Mhm.
really
Yeah. Gotta
that's
get
really
good.
it. Or spec into it and get more aim assist to get some help. Which
Well,
I won't do.
both.
Thank you.
Right? Because you're getting increase into accuracy as you spec into it as well.
Yeah, this definitely sounds like they want you to be better in the air to get the benefit. I think they're seeing that it's just a bit too easy to be so airborne with something like Stompies, and you see they showed the stat usage, and it's like Stompies are clearly the winner. And they don't want that to be the case. They don't want it to be like just a throw this on and you get, a higher chance of landing stuff. Like they want you to be methodical about it.
So let's see, what do we have here? Okay, before and after examples of accuracy cone penalty. I know I can read that. This is fine. Okay.
Yeah.
So before 0.667 degrees airborne accuracy penalty. Now keep in mind this is a penalty.
For a hand
Bad
cannon.
things. For hand cannons. After 0 stat, 0.450 degrees. After 60 stat, 0 degrees. So if you have a 60 stat hand cannon, you will get 0 degree penalty on your
100%
hand
accuracy.
cannon. Yes.
And with a 0 stat, you're more accurate than you were previously.
Correct.
But you have less aim assist in air.
But you have less aim assist. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
not going to feel as sticky in air. But if your
Yep.
reticle is over their head, it will land.
That's good. When your
That is
reticle
good.
is over somebody's head, it should hit. Like that's just my opinion. It feels
No, I
bad
think
when it
that's-
misses. Yeah.
I think that's great that even at a 0 stat, it's still going to feel more accurate than it does right now. Because
Mhm.
when you were specifically aiming at someone and you saw that you aimed at it and they missed,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
it
frustrating.
does not feel good.
And if you're close enough with something like a hand cannon, that 0.45, I mean, if you build into that and get it somewhere in between there, like it starts getting to the point where even if you're not at a 0 degree and you're close enough, like it, and you aim at the middle of the head, like it should feel like 100%, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Sniper rifle before 3 degrees, after at 0 stat,
Wow.
2 degrees, after 60 stat, 0.8 degrees, and after 100 stat is 0 degrees.
Dude, the 100 stat jump snipe with the 100 stat? I mean,
Yeah.
that's going to be spicy. Whew.
It's gonna be fun. I'm just
Uh,
gonna go for it all the time.
I mean, the real era of Destiny montages is about to begin.
Yeah. Where's No Land Beyond when you need it?
Yeah, I know, right?
Surprise,
So
Briar, season 17.
All right.
Yeah, hey. So the airborne effectiveness stat comes from 3 sources: weapon, subclass, and armor. So with weapons, the weapon's base airborne effectiveness stat with ranges varying from 0 to 10 and 0 to 30 depending on the weapon archetype. Exotic weapons typically get bumped up, for example, higher stat than legendary weapons in that archetype unless they're already super duper duper strong. So the Icarus Grip or Adept Icarus weapon mod is plus 15 to your airborne effectiveness stat. Certain weapon perks, such as the redesigned Air Assault, and then here's some big numbers. We're just gonna go through it. It's gonna be fun.
Mhm.
Valid stat ranges for legendary weapons, not counting exotics. There's some very specifics with exotics that I think we decided we're not gonna read through, but we're just gonna give you the basics of each archetype. So hand cannon, 0 to 25, sidearm, 0 to 30, auto rifle, 0 to 25, pulse rifle, 0 to 25, scout rifle, 0 to 20, submachine gun, 0 to 30, bow, 0 to 20, Sniper 0 to 5.
Wow.
You're gonna have to work to get that.
So
100.
You gotta work.
yeah, if you wanna be Sky Sniper, you have to get
Yeah.
some buffs.
You gotta tilt the perfect tower
Although
together.
saying that, we just went over that they're now more accurate at 0
Yeah.
than they were previously. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Shotgun also 0 to 5. Fusion rifle 0 to 10. Breach
I like the
grenade
shotguns
launcher.
are 0 to 5.
You gotta work for it.
Honestly, I'm not looking forward to the future of the flying shotgunners.
Yeah.
That's what
already
it is
a
right
thing.
now. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. I just
Um,
thought I don't think I've
yeah.
ever jumped and got someone with a fusion rifle. Have you ever done that?
Because it's very difficult. Because
Yeah, I
it will
don't
always
think-
freaking miss.
Like you'd have to
Yeah.
jump off a ledge and be dropping down and then fusion someone that one. But I've never intentionally jumped and fusion someone. Of course, I don't use backup plan or
It's
no
pretty
backup plan or
awful in
whatever.
there. Breach grenade launcher 0 to 5. Trace rifle
That should be
0
like
to 15.
negative 200, to be honest.
For breach. Yeah.
I mean, it explodes.
Yeah.
How accurate you gotta be?
Rocket launcher 0 to 10. Machine gun 0 to 20. Linear fusion rifle 0 to 15. So interesting. Linear fusion rifle is 0 to 15, but sniper is 0 to 5.
Fascinating.
I
Yeah.
guess because you have to charge it, so you jump and then you charge
what's-
instead of jump hit.
What's Arbalest gonna be?
A linear fusion rifle.
Well, I mean,
I don't
because
know
it's
what
exotic.
that
Is
is.
it
Probably
gonna
in
get
here
like
somewhere. Drum grenade launcher 0 to 20 and glaive 0 to 15. Now, the interesting thing here, which I thought was pretty interesting, higher tiers of legendary weapons such as Trowels, Raid, and Nightfall use the upper end of these ranges, as
Okay.
with other stats.
Interesting.
So
They
then
should,
we
right? You worked harder to get them. They got better stats.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
More specialty items.
then they do go into specifics with some exotics, and I will say I think you guys can probably read that for yourself if you want to know what your exotic is specifically going to be able to do. You can go and check it out. I will give a call out to one though, which is Chaperone at a meaty
I saw that too.
1.
One. They refer to Ace of Spades, in which they wrote as an example of an exotic that is already plenty strong enough and doesn't need to excel here.
Yeah.
1. Good job. Okay, subclass. So the Heat Rises ability plus 70 while Heat Rises is active. So when you consume your grenade, this is Top Tree Dawn Blade.
Yeah.
Plus
Makes sense.
70.
Yeah, that seems like,
That
that's
makes
what that thing does. Right?
Yeah, that's literally what it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Tempered Metal ability plus 20 after getting a solar weapon kill. And the Whisper of Hedron's Stasis Fragment plus 20 after freezing a target.
Interesting.
Very interesting. We then have a list of exotic armor. Again, I think this is, we can call out one and talk about that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think a lot of these you can probably just read if you want to know what it's going to give you. But we will talk about, of course.
Wait, I
Mhm.
just want to say that
Yep.
on all these that they showed,
Yep.
they're all positive. Except
They're all
for one.
positive.
Except
For one. Stompies.
Negative 50.
Negative 50 for Stompies.
That is such a hit.
use them. Ever.
I didn't read this part, so I didn't realize that Stompies got hit that hard in the air accuracy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I
they
mean,
got
So
they got
if you
hit.
spec'd your weapon into it as hard as you could and got it up to 100 using Stompies, the max you could get would be up to 50.
Yeah.
Correct.
And because the Stompies are what the Stompies are, you're also dealing with further ranges because you're higher up in the air, right?
Yeah.
And just to note where 50 gets you, that would be in the minimal investment stat, which is a character will have around the same in-air accuracy as Icarus Grip, but with less aim assist. So if you are someone who uses Stompies and you consider yourself to have a really good shot, your accuracy is going to be the same as using Icarus. So that's a very familiar
We'll see
experience you
about that,
have.
motherfucker.
But your aim assist is going to be significantly, well, not significantly, it just says reduced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reduce aim assist.
Noticeably lower aim assist.
Honestly, I feel like if you're good at mouse and keyboard, like this is going to be a benefit to you. I really do. Because if you're good
Yeah.
at just lining up your shots, You know. I mean, same thing with the
I feel
controller
like
too.
if
But
I mean, if you're good with a controller
Yeah.
and you're good at lining up your shots, you're gonna be. If you got good aim, legitimately, this is going to be a buff to you.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, like legitimately, you will have to spec into getting 100 of the stat, which might, it's going to change your build quite a lot. But in terms of if, like we said, if you have a good shot and you can get to 50, it will probably feel the same, but you have to aim a little bit more precisely than you currently do now. It won't be as sticky.
Yeah.
I just want to see a video of someone with Stompies and Chaperone, just see what happens. Like one year accuracy minus 50. Like, was the bullet come back and hit you in the face? Does a U-turn?
You're shooting blanks. Yeah, I don't use Stompies. Like I've
don't
hardly
either.
ever used Stompies because like I didn't play that way. But I do find it a little strange to want. So like they show this graph later on that shows all the distribution of exotics, and Stompies is like 50% for hunters. So it's heavily used by and large when people choose a hunter. I don't necessarily think the in-air accuracy stat is the best way to get people to move away from that exotic if that's their intent. You know what I mean? Like, oh, we don't want people using that so much, so let's do a negative 50 stat on that exotic specifically. Like, I'm happy that they're trying to make people move away from it, but I feel like that's a little counterintuitive of a way to make them move away from it.
It is also a little strange that it's a movement exotic and it impacts you negatively, because you'd think it would be the other way, right? Where if you're speccing into being in the air, you're going to want an exotic to put you in the air and your airborne stat. So it does seem a little strange, but I know that obviously they want to get people using different exotics because it is the most used by a lot. And this was kind of their stab at it.
Yeah. It just feels slightly like whack-a-mole. Like, just whack that stat. Get people away from that exotic.
So they say here that this means that in general, if you want good airborne effectiveness, say 70, you should pick a weapon with a high stat, put Icarus on it, and either equip an exotic armor piece that helps or run a subclass aspect, fragment, or ability. And if you want the best possible airborne effectiveness, you'll generally have to go all in on the weapon, exotic armor, and subclass. So they give a couple examples here. We can go through some of them. So Frontier's Cry with precision hand cannon bonus, Icarus Grip, and Lucky Pants gives you 79. Submission with Icarus Grip, Stompies, and Tempered Metal active, 12. Jesus Christ. Taraba, Peacekeepers, and Whisper Hedrons is 83. Airborne, actually. And Skyburner's Oath plus Heat Rises is 100.
Wow.
There's going to be some artillery mages flying through the sky. I hope there are. That sounds funny.
Yeah, for sure. Real quick, did they mention anything about showing this airborne effectiveness stat in the menu? Like, so if if you see Stompies and it equips, are they going to show that anywhere, or that it drops airborne?
Like your complete total?
And they should, because otherwise people will be running around with Stompies like, what's going on?
Yeah, this is very pertinent information. I mean, like lion rampant.
You just got to get out your graph, man, and you got to map it out.
You got to nerd out, man. Bust out your TI-82.
You're gonna have to get out your graph paper and like, okay, my Frontier's Cry is a 19. My Icarus Grip gives me a 25 boost.
Yeah. Because they said in the weapons.
I would assume it would be season 18.
Yeah. Well, they said in the weapons that they're gonna show them in the weapons in season 18. But I don't remember them talking about exotic armor or anything. It'd be nice to see some of these underlying stats, because like this is a lot. They're very different.
Impacting the weapon stats, because like you don't see. I mean, they're going to put aim assist on there too now. So when you put aim assist mods on, are you going to see your aim assist stat bump up on your weapon when you have the armor mod on?
True. Yeah.
Is it going to show on the weapon, or are you going to show on the armor stuff? Like I think it'd be interesting. Like if your gloves have some sort of stat like that, you see it on the gloves saying your aim assist is being bumped up by this much with your mod and all that. Or maybe there's another section on your character that's overall total stat, just like how they have resilience and intellect and all that. Like maybe there's another thing that they start showing you on there, overall airborne effectiveness.
Because I mean, the first thing I thought was, what happens when you get people new to Destiny. Like, oh, I'm gonna play PvP, and they're like, oh, Stompies gives me. I'll put that on, and then like, why are my bullets not going? Where?
Yeah.
I'm using the air ability exotic.
Because I mean, if you equip Stompies and you're like, why does it show my air effectiveness so low on my gun? And you don't read anything like this, you're gonna be like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's just we should move
Let's
on.
hope. So they of course say this is a big weapon system change. They're gonna monitor it, and here's
Yeah.
some graphs. And here's a graph just showing the exotic usage for hunters and
Stompies.
Stompies is
Boy, they put Mercules right to work when he got hired, huh?
They sure did. He's responsible.
it's yeah, that's a big block right there on the graph. That's a big old block.
Yeah.
It's huge.
I'm like, damn.
Big block. For Titans, I can't even tell which is the bigger one.
Yeah. Well,
Dr.
have a big block
PhD,
too.
get on it. We graph.
Lorelei and
It's got to be Doonies, or is it feedback things? Doonies, and then
Isn't it
is
Lorelei?
it Lorelei and Mark of the Quiet One? Question mark.
Loreley's
Yes.
Thunder is used a lot. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And then for Warlocks, an equally
Warlocks.
impressive gigantic block for Ophidian aspects.
Yeah.
You know what? Give them -50 in air as well. Why not?
Mm.
Yeah, for Ophidian aspects.
Just for you, whatever. Give them that too.
If you
Call it
equip
the wet pants buff or the unbuff.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going off of the same logic of nerfing Stompies because they're used so much, Ophidian should catch a nerf somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Catch some hands.
They should catch them hands.
This has to be just PvP, I'm assuming, these stats.
It says activity type Crucible, yeah. Platform type all, controller type all.
Man, wouldn't you like it to get access to this tool, whatever is spitting these graphs out?
Oh, I would love
Where you
to.
could just like, okay, platform type, controller type, activity type.
It's really
Like,
cool.
really,
Especially
Oh,
if you have
you
Plus
thought
them
graphs.
to all these.
backseating devs was bad before. Imagine if people had access to these stats.
They could print out their own graphs, be like,
Oh,
clearly
Lord.
you see your game's broken.
Look at this. You see? You see? Yeah. So, sounds interesting to me.
Yeah.
More ways to build your
Yeah.
character. I love that it's less
yeah.
aim assist instead of accuracy.
I love that too. I
Yes.
also really like the fact that you can build towards flinch or air effectiveness or both. At least I'm hoping you build towards both. Curious to see how that looks. But it also does spell out even more so that you really do need two separate builds. One for PvE to be the real killer to slay a bunch of ads versus like being an effective PvP slayer, you know?
Yeah.
I'm
It's cool.
definitely interested to see how the Crucible looks after this, for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely. Next, they're talking about playlist weapons, which is, of course, Gambit, Crucible, and Strike. So we got through the massive weapon stuff. Good job.
Congratulations, guys.
We're almost a third of the way
Should
through
we,
this swab.
Yeah. Should we take a 5-minute break?
No joke.
We're getting there.
No joke.
Ooh, don't pump the brakes. Okay. These weapons are intended to provide interesting drops even for players who spend a lot of time in an activity. And while we want to keep the large perk pools to address that goal, we want to provide a way to reduce the duration of the chase for players who want a specific weapon. Also, since the older playlist weapons are still available as vendor rank up rewards, we want them to feel more relevant in a post-origin trait world. So playlist weapons now have a chance to roll with extra traits in one or both columns, increasing with number of rank resets with that vendor during a given season.
That's cool.
Oh, fuck. Really?
You don't like that?
Hey,
Well,
for the
I mean-
grinders out there, the people who want to grind hard to get something for resetting ranks, I think that's great.
Yeah. That is...
I will reset my rank instead of being like, oh, look, it's at 20,000. I guess I'll just keep it there.
The days I troll chat by never resetting my Crucible rank. Be like, why? Why would I do that?
Note that reputation, of course, resets each season, so you'd have to reset again when the next season comes out to get that boost.
Mhm.
And all playlist weapons from Beyond Light and later will drop with the appropriate origin trait.
Nice.
That's nice. That's nice. Like that. Stat display update. Following the recent change to show numbers for all stats instead of just bars, we've opted to change the stat display on weapons to more clearly reflect their capabilities. All weapon stat bars now range 0 to 100 instead of being limited to some range in the middle of the bar.
I really like this change because I always thought that was so weird.
Yeah,
in
this is
Destiny.
nice.
Be like, all these, snipers always are so low on all this stuff.
And they do say nothing's changed. It's just the weapon stat bar.
Yeah,
You
the
can
visual side.
read it.
Yeah.
Now here's another spicy one. One-hit kills and special ammo.
Mm-hmm.
There are several damage buffs external to weapons that allow weapons to one-hit kill without much investment, such as aggressive sniper rifle with high impact reserves, Ariana's Vow, or Lemonarch, specifically when combined with an external 20% damage buff. As an example, Empowering Rift can give many sniper rifles one-hit body shot capabilities in the Crucible. Most of these use the same buff under the hood, so we've adjusted them all at once. With these changes, it's going to be much rarer to get an easy one-hit kill with a weapon that wouldn't typically allow it. So they have reduced the damage bonus for Empowering Rift, High Energy Fire, and Inertia Override from 20% to 15% against players. No effect in PvE.
That's great.
Good. That's
Yeah.
just good. Yeah, that's just good. I like that. In addition, we want special ammo to be less plentiful, making it more difficult to chain special weapon kills. So they have disabled ammo scavenger mods
Good.
in PvP.
Awesome.
It is good. And they changed the cost of the ammo scavenger mods, I think, to prevent people from doing it in PvP as much. I hope they revert that so that in
Yeah.
PvE you can stack that easier.
Yeah, I also really dislike the fact that I had to make sure that stuff was active when I jump into a playlist. If I swap to a shotgun or fusion rifle and be like, oh, I forgot to apply my scavenger mods, I'm hurting myself in the Crucible. Like, nah.
Yep, absolutely.
No.
Also, I did see Crosser in chat saying that Lorelays.
Lily?
They did mention it somewhere on Twitter that it's getting looked at. I don't remember where or where I saw it or anything, but it's getting looked at.
Okay.
So no matter how much ammo a player was carrying on death, if you pick up a special ammo brick, you only get 1 ammo for shotgun and sniper rifle, or 1 kill's worth of ammo. For weapons that require more than 1 shot kill, for Forerunner and Trace rifles, you're not just gonna get 1. That would be
1
really
bullet.
terrible. And then they've retuned. You just get 1 Forerunner. Okay, I did it. I shot him. Shot him. Retune several special weapon archetypes and exotic weapons with the general goal of reducing the effectiveness and uptime of special weapons. So now we have another graph.
These graphs are amazing. I love it.
Special weapons, in particular shotguns and fusion rifles, are responsible for more one-hit kills than we'd like in PvP. We still want them to be an option, but less ubiquitous, less effective at multiple ranges, and with lower uptime. Now, if you would look to your left at the graph, this week's shotguns, yeah, that's a lot of shotguns.
It's like 50%. 50% of the kills is shotguns.
Yep.
I thought it was fascinating that snipers and fusion rifles essentially share the same amount.
It's pretty even. Yeah.
I did not expect that.
No. And then the fusion rifle, the when Xur sold that God Roll fusion, that's where you see the bump of fusion rifles.
That's so funny. Yeah.
That's great.
That is
there's
great.
a lot of shotguns. Lots of shotguns.
Yeah. It's been
shotguns are an easy
reliable.
weapon to use.
I think it really comes down to the reliability and the fact that you're always up, because if you're running scavengers and you get a shotgun kill, like there's 2 or 3 shots extra for you, and you just keep on running and gunning. So it just rewarded the play style.
Yep. Special weapons. All special weapons have had their in-air accuracy significantly reduced. While we are okay with encouraging players to build into using their primary weapons more effectively in the air, we do not believe a prevalence of airborne one-hit kill options is good for PvP. So they get into some specifics here before we get the hot takes.
They don't
the
want
hot
the
takes of the hot
sniper
table.
montages.
Sky Sniper ruined.
Special weapons have a slightly larger airborne accuracy penalty than primary weapons at 0 airborne effectiveness stat, reduced to 0 at 100 stat. So you can build into it then.
Yeah, still possible. But those snipers, you're only getting 5.
That's true.
To start
yeah,
with.
it's gonna
The
be
base
it's gonna be
stat's really
much
low.
harder for you to do that.
Yeah.
Special weapons have a similar airborne aim assist cone penalty to other weapons, around 50% at 0 stat, and this penalty can be reduced but not entirely removed by investing in airborne effectiveness. So your aim assist cone is never going to be perfect on special weapons. Sniper rifles are fairly slow to ready, stow, and aim down sights, which has made snapshot feel mandatory for many players. So they are reducing stow, ready, and ADS times by 10%, so all snipers will feel snappier. And there's a matching change to snapshot as well to make it feel even more snappier if you want it to be more snappy. Sniper rifles have less access to ammo than shotguns and fusion rifles, so we think ammo scarcity will prevent snipers from spiking. I agree. Next class, if you look to your left, there is a new graph. This one is about types of shotguns and stuff. Shotgun usage broken out by intrinsic is what this graph is. Lightweight
this is the
frames
archetype, right?
are a lot.
Yeah.
What
is a lightweight frame? Anybody know?
Mobility. Get mobility bump on it.
Oh yeah, you get mobility bump on that. But like, what's the most popular lightweight shotgun? Anybody know? Chat, can we get a lifeline? Someone know?
Can I phone a friend? What is the most popular lightweight shotgun? CQC. Reese-Walker.
Oh, Reese-Walker. Okay. Yeah.
Iron
that
Banner.
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that does make sense.
Yep.
Slug and pellet shotguns are still overwhelmingly popular in PvP despite some recent changes, so we've touched them again with the goal of encouraging some diversity in special weapon choice. We're keeping an eye on this change since we've touched shotguns multiple times recently, and we'll adjust it if needed. With this change, we expect shotguns to have a shorter one-hit kill distance, but still be effective enough in that short-range kill role. This change reduces shotgun one-hit kill distance by around 0.5 meters. Because of the importance of spread angle, it's just as high as damage fall off, and this has not been touched. So they've reduced damage fall off start and end by 1 meter, and reduced aim assist and magnetism fall off start and end by 2 meters.
Okay.
Just bringing them in slightly.
Yeah.
You just got to be a bit closer. Fusion rifle usage is trending pretty high, particularly in trials, and bringing shotguns down a little more would give them too good of an option. So we've made a global change. With these changes, 20 meter plus fusion rifle one-hit kill should be very uncommon through a combination of damage fall off and recoil changes. So they've made a bunch of changes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we need to read all the changes. It's gonna.
It's basically nipping
20 meter,
you know?
20 meter plus is gonna be rare.
Yeah, it's giving it. Yeah, exactly. They're just shaving like the shotgun. They're shaving some stuff off of it.
Getting shaved.
Yep.
And then there's also another breakdown of fusion rifle. Again, main ingredient. You can tell when Xur sold it because they bumped up.
It spikes so much.
Woo! Yeah.
It's funny. I haven't really been a fan of that just because of the charge time. Even though Null Composure has been less accurate, I've still relied on the faster charge time with that stuff.
Now we're talking even more about fusion rifles. So when it went into season 15, they changed the subfamilies dramatically to try and make them feel unique and a decision that you would make. So they're doing some adjustments now to make it less extreme. So a high impact, reduced unmodified high impact charge time from 1 to 0.960 seconds. And increase damage per burst by 10. I don't know, Mylan. What are you going to do? What are you going to use when we go play trials? Huh?
40 milliseconds?
I scrolled down. I'm like, I'm going to need to go get a second coffee because this is a lot more than this one.
You can go get a coffee if you want.
Oh, Danny!
Give me your hot take on fusion rifles. Hot take fusion rifles. Make everyone mad.
Okay, a hot take is if you nerf shotguns and nerf fusion rifles, your graph's gonna look the same.
Damn. Spitting
Is your hot
facts.
take?
Yeah, I mean, people use shotguns like we said because they are easier to use consistently. Because you run, you get close to someone, you shoot it, and they die. So
Yeah.
people are always going to use shotguns. Well, I guess
yeah.
the only thing that you can hope is that there's less people being able to run around and kill people with shotguns the entire match because of the special ammo.
Yeah, I mean they're saying they're shifting more towards primary gunplay, less one-hit kills in general.
Are we going to the promised land of Briar's favorite time in Destiny?
Season 1, vanilla Destiny 2.
Briar's
Did
an idiot.
have
Look at
more
him.
primary
Double
gameplay.
primaries, double
There
primaries,
was more
baby.
primary game. Okay. Precision. Increased unmodified charge time from 0.740 to 0.780 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Q. Rapid fire. Increased unmodified charge time from 0.460 to 0.500. Decreased damage per burst by 20.
Yeah, these are all like 40 millisecond adjustments. Except
40
high
millisecond
impact.
adjustments. Yep.
High impact is slightly faster.
Like in a way that technically can be measured.
As a
You
musician,
can feel it on fusion rifles. You
yeah,
can.
as a musician, 40 milliseconds is like a valley of time. You could throw everything off in 40 milliseconds. But
I tried to tell my wife
33
that, but she wouldn't believe me.
megaseconds is like one frame of 60 FPS, right?
is it?
Or is it 16? I think 16 is one frame of 13. It's around there somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, if you're used to this stuff, you'll definitely feel it.
So to summarize, the new charge time and damage per burst for fusion rifles. High impact is 0.960 seconds, 330 damage. Precision is 0.780 seconds and 280 damage. Adaptive is 0.660 seconds with 270 damage. And rapid fire is 0.5 with 245 damage.
Mm-hmm.
How's that feel? No idea. Find out.
Hey, you want me to give you another spicy hot take?
Hot take.
Yeah, hot take.
Yes.
Right,
Anything
so-
spicy would be appreciated.
Serrano peppers.
With the usage, and now look, I'm just going to throw this out here. With the usage graphs, right? Because shotguns are used a lot. How much of that is to do with the maps?
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, map design, obviously. I definitely feel like that influences it a lot.
So, I mean, I don't think that every special weapon should be equally used, but every special weapon should have their place.
Agreed.
So it's interesting. I don't know. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Fusion rifles getting touched, shotguns getting touched. In our accuracy, more primary gameplay might be enough. I think we're going to see some more snipey boys, more snipey floaty boys, and girls and people.
That's
guardians.
definitely possible.
Yeah. It's interesting. Honestly, the way you said it though, Mylan, about how adjust everything, the graph stays the same. I kind of feel like the graph's going to be somewhat similar. I don't think much is going to change in terms of
It's
people's
gonna be
actual
pretty
usage.
similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I think it's just going to put
The
more
graph
emphasis
that
on
might
the
change,
primary,
though, yeah, that's the graph that'll change, right? Is the usage between
which we don't
primary
see.
and
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
ratio of kills from primary to special that you want to look at.
Totally. There will definitely be less special ammo out in the field. Less
Mhm.
people running around
Yeah.
having insane.
But the usage
Shotgun
of
streaks.
shotguns in comparison to other specials are probably going to be similar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and if that half a meter of shotgun nerf gives you an extra chance, like one extra half second to get another primary shot off, that could be the difference between a kill and getting killed, right?
Mhm.
So trace rifles are, of course, maybe you don't want to pick a trace rifle as your special weapon. They're giving it some love. So they're increasing trace rifle damage against non-red bar combatants by 20%, and they're increasing ammo picked up per special ammo brick from 18 to 30. That's nice.
Great. I like trace rifles, but they suck.
Yeah.
So this is good.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Does someone else want to take over?
Yeah, I'll take
in case
over
I have
primary.
to,
Yeah.
In case I have to dip out. In
So
20
auto rifles and pulse rifles aren't as competitive as we like at mid range. Lightweight pulse rifles are hard to use to hit their optimal time to kill. So they're making some changes. Auto rifle, increased damage fall off near distance by 0.75 meters. So there's a near distance and a far distance. Like there's a maximum distance of the actual fall off, and then the near distance of where it starts happening gradually. So they're adjusting a lot of that in these stats. So the increased damage fall off near distance for auto rifles. So it goes a little bit farther when it starts falling off. Pulse rifles, increased damage fall off near distance based on the range stat. So 0 range increased from 15 to 16 meters. If you're at 100 range, it increases it from 22.5 meters to 24 meters. So a nice little bump right there. Actually, a little longer bump as well. Increases with the range. Note that this is the hip fire fall off distance and is multiplied by the zoom value to get the aim down sight's fall off distance. So if you've ever wondered why you should use something with a higher zoom, it's because your range will increase and the fall off distances will increase as well because they're multiplied by the zoom value.
Have we checked in on the firing range guys and make sure they're okay, not frothing at the mouth at all the stats? Has anyone done a courtesy call? Make sure they're okay.
We can't reach them because all their phones are in calculator mode right now. We got do not
right,
disturb on. You got
Exactly.
graphing calculators going.
Damage fall off for distance remains 40 meters regardless of the range stat. So with all pulse rifles, the maximum fall off distance is 40 meters always. Increased lightweight 450 RPM pulse rifle damage per bullet from 15 to 16 with a 1.65 precision scalar with this weapon. Increased damage 24. Okay. It got a bit of a bump.
It's got a bump.
Yeah.
It says it won't change anything in PvP. It's still going to be the same number. It just changes the number of crits required. Zoom is too important of a factor on submachine guns, and submachine guns with low zoom
True.
don't feel competitive in PvP because again, that zoom factor type of thing, with the fall off. We've reduced the variance in zoom, brought the base zoom up from 13 to 14, extended the damage fall off distance. Yada yada yada. So the increased damage fall off by 1.5 meters for submachine guns. And then adjusted zoom values on most viable legendary machine guns and one exotic. So Shire's Wrath, 17 to 16. Multi-Mock goes with a max zoom scope, goes from 17 to 15. Second highest zoom will bring it to 14 instead. The Huckleberry goes from 13 to 15 on there.
I'm your Huckleberry.
Yeah, I'm a Huckleberry, baby.
Basically, Shayura's Wrath and Multi-Mac were like competing with auto rifles because of their zooms, and they've been dropped down a little bit, and the other one's been brought up a bit.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yep,
Pretty much.
exactly. We like adaptive submachine guns and are starting to make them again, but in the current form, they kill a little too fast with the body shots. So we've reduced body damage to increase their body shot time to kill by 1 bullet without impacting their original optimal time. So decreased body damage from 12 to 11.25. Increased precision multiplier as well by a bit. Precision. Finally, I've been saying
Finally. God
forever.
damn, I've been saying decrease that body damage from 12 to 11.25. How many
so
times?
Restrictive. Precision frame hand cannon have always been good, while Airborne effectively having built-in Icarus Grip. And with the changes to Airborne functionality, we wanted to preserve that feeling while translating their advantage to the new system. So Intrinsic switched from a 75% Airborne accuracy penalty reduction to a plus 25 Airborne effectiveness stat. This means that if you had a Frontier's Cry with an Icarus Grip mod on it, you would be at 19 plus 25 plus 15, carry the 2 XY 59 before factoring
we're
armor.
failing. As soon as you left, all the seriousness, we're like, nah, we can't do this.
Yeah, by my calculations, Mhm. Yeah, so that happened on there with the guns and stuff. So heavy weapons.
Stuff. Yeah.
We're getting through it. We're getting through this TWAB, guys. Heavy
We're almost
weapons.
2/3 of the way through the swap.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Heavy weapons. So machine guns still aren't where they want them to be in PvE, so we're giving them an additional buff, but less so against bosses, where their extremely long range and deep ammo reserves would make them too strong in too many rolls. So what they're doing, increased damage by 40% against PvE enemies, plus 20% versus bosses.
Hey,
I
that's
love
pretty
this.
Oh,
I'm
so you
like,
still get a buff against bosses, just not as big.
not as
Okay.
big, except Xenophage and Grand Overture. I think it's really interesting that Xenophage is getting that 40% boost to regular enemies, because that thing, it's good. So yeah, bosses.
It's interesting, like machine
Mhm.
guns. I can't really see a role for them with Void 3.0, and then whatever happens with Solar or Arc next. You know, I can't really see myself pulling out a machine gun to clear ads.
Yeah.
No, I don't like wasting heavy to clear out ads unless I'm like absolutely fucked. And then I prefer to go something with like an explosion that like clears out a bunch of them instantly.
Yeah.
So I don't know what
the
use you
Void,
would have
yeah.
the machine gun. What, like champions? Then is that what you use? What are you using machine guns for?
Well, plus 40% damage boost is pretty significant.
Plus 20% on bosses. I don't know if that's going to be significant. I don't know if that's going to be able to get them
Yeah.
into that top tier with like,
But
the
maybe you're
stuff that you
sniping.
burn bosses down with.
Maybe you're sniping the boss instead, and then you're using Xenophage to take out like a champion or a big enemy,
Maybe.
big health
Could be.
bar enemy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
could be.
Maybe the Nightfalls, stuff like that.
Yeah, we'll
Trap
see.
bosses.
Yeah, I mean, the meta has obviously shifted, but I like machine guns. I like heavy machine guns.
I like them too, but
Yeah. Sword stats have been inconsistent for a while, so they did some tidying up on the cosmetics. They made the stats look the same, or they make
Rocket
more sense.
launchers, I don't know. They do like some shiz.
Rocket launchers explode. You know what I'm saying?
Exotics, it's pretty cool.
Actually, this is interesting. So with rocket launchers, they're
Yeah.
making it so precision does 10% less damage, both on impact and detonation. High impact has no change. It's the highest blast radius of all of them. And then adaptive and aggressive get a 10% damage increase. So there is
Yeah,
some
nice.
distinction there to pay attention with rocket launchers. But I feel like rockets are in
that
that
might-
same boat, where it's like, rockets. Exotics are better.
Go pow!
Yeah. Kapow.
Exotics are getting better too.
Yeah, this is a big old list of exotic stuff. So
yeah,
exotics.
big exotic.
All
big
exotics that
exotic
shipped
list.
before the Forsaken release. Now, if their kill track is visible, yes. Fighting Lion needed a bit more of a buff. Oh, this is nice. Fighting Lion got
Did
some
it?
reversion.
Did it really?
Yes. Yes. How dare you? My Fighting Lion. Increased damage by 5%. They, with this change, let's see. Sorry. Then reverted the Season 15 Breach Grenade Launcher Blast Radius reduction, but just for the Fighting Lion. So it got a bit of a damage increase to make it so you can proc that perk better. Eyes of Tomorrow. As a raid exotic ought to be better against PvE enemies. With this change, it's going to be better. Increased damage versus boss and champions. 30%. Good job, Eyes of
Dude,
Tomorrow.
that's
Good
good.
looking
That's
out.
pretty big.
That's pretty
Yeah.
big.
That is, yeah. That's
got it,
definitely a big
though.
one.
Me.
I don't
I
have
know.
it.
I got it.
Yeah. Do I have it? I never used it if I have it.
30%, that big.
That's a good one. That's, yeah. Well,
Don't you love how like
bosses and
PvP
champions.
changes? It's
That's
like, oh, we changed something by 0.01
yeah.
of a second.
The degree.
30%.
Right? Leviathan's Breath felt like it should absolutely wreck, but it wasn't. So they've made some changes to this to make it feel better. Archer's Tempo perk from the Catalyst has now been increased for just this weapon, though, not from the actual perk. The standard draw time Scalar was 0.0575x. It is now 0.5625x in the Leviathan's Breath, so they made it a bit quicker. Actually, pretty significantly quicker. Added a small delay before detonation on champions, mini bosses, and bosses. This allows the impact to stun an unstoppable champion, and then the detonation to deal bonus damage against the stun champion.
Oh, that's
so that
nice.
is excellent. Good
That is
change
nice.
right there. Damage change to be more evenly split between impact and detonation, and increased damage across the board by 50%.
Ooh.
That's a big boy increase. Overall damage versus champions is roughly doubled. So get out there, champ.
Woo.
Get to slaying.
Get out there,
Huckleberry.
champ.
Yeah. Huckleberry had an underwhelming engagement range. Updated zoom based on it increased the zoom from 13 to 15. Go get him,
Cool.
Huckleberry.
I not remember the last time I used the Huckleberry.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
such a great weapon.
Vanilla
I haven't
Destiny
used
2.
it forever.
Or Curse of Osiris Destiny 2, right? That's when it came out. Maybe.
Yeah, about that.
Our experiment with pushing Xenophage into harder hitting but slower firing did not pan out, so we are increasing the fire rate and adjusting the damage back to where it was before. I actually like this. I like this change.
I like it too.
Yeah, increase the fire rate from 100 RPM to 120 RPM. Reduce damage per bullet to match the previous. Doesn't benefit from the Season 17 machine gun damage versus bosses. So, again, the boss increase doesn't happen with Xenophage. Lemon Arc. It's too oppressive when combined with external damage buffs, but we felt like it could be stronger in PvE. With this change combined with the damage buff change above, we've introduced a 60 resilience gate on killing a guardian in PvP with a crit, while an empowering rift or similar. So they reduced poison tick damage versus players by 25%. And also changed the damage type from burn to poison. This is largely housekeeping and not gameplay significant, and increased poison tick damage versus AI by 50%.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like that. I like these words. Them words are good.
Poison subclass.
Honestly, reading
Quick.
between the lines, they're like, "Oh, we have to do some house cleaning and for consistency, and this is now poison." It's like because it's going to become more significant in the future. Poison related things. All right, Lorentz driver can be difficult to fight against in PvP. It's the big suck, you know. In
Big
part
suck.
because it does have very high body shot damage. With this change, getting left super weak by a body shot damage should be less common. Though we're keeping an eye out on it. Might revisit it. So reduce body shot damage against players by 20%. This will also prevent it from being a one-hit kill with Empowering Rift. Body damage reverts to old behavior when in the weapons damage mode. I actually don't understand what that means.
No idea.
Eh.
Beats me.
Okay, yeah. Reverts damage. Precision damage in any mode unchanged. So the big suck. It's unchanged. Skyburner's Oath. This is interesting. Skyburner's Oath.
This is good.
Yeah. So they've done some things with Skyburner's Oath because of the whole Airborne stuff. So increased ADS projectile speed to 99999. 99999.
Hit scan, baby.
Basically, hit scan. Yeah, the game. Yeah, that's what a hit scan basically is. So no more floating bullet like that, right? Both ADS and hipfire are now 150 RPMs. So that's good. Hipfire projectile no longer tracks, but arcs similar to a grenade launcher and has a larger detonation size than ADS.
Ooh.
So interesting. Yeah, and hipfire detonation also applies to burn targets, or applies a burn to targets. So now you're actually activating a burn, which is cool. Which I wonder if that's going
Not
to
poison.
be not poison,
Burn.
but
Solar.
solar. If we get solar next, you know, and there's a lot of burn things, maybe Skyburner is going to be part of some builds. Bonus range from the masterwork has also been rolled into the base stat. It grants reload speed now also, and has the highest airborne effectiveness stat of any weapon in the game, 35.
35.
There you go.
Honestly, I'm just gonna go back to the Warlock, use Heat Rises, and that's 100 airborne accuracy, and just shoot people in the air.
You're
with
good to go.
Skyburner.
You're good to go.
There you go.
Like,
Yeah, roll out.
AC 130 coming in.
All right. Last word. Plays very differently on mouse and keyboard than it does on controller, but the disparity doesn't seem to be that large. We're keeping an eye on this one too. So they reduced a mouse and keyboard recoil penalty from 33 to 22%. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it gets more accurate.
They reduced the recoil penalty.
Recoil.
So yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
more
So they
predictable.
reduced the recoil.
Yeah. By 11%. Yeah. Where was I? Crap, I lost my place. It's like one. It's just a giant
Arbalest.
block attack. Okay, yeah, Arbalest. Arbalest is more dominant than intended in hard PvE content, able to fill the anti-barrier role as well as shield breaking and boss damage. We've made a fair amount of adjustments to it. They reduce damage versus champions by 25%, but it will still break barriers in one hit.
The good
Actually,
news with
yeah.
Arbalest is that like you would probably still want to use it in match game because it can break shields.
Yeah.
And it's still gonna break barriers in one hit, which is nice. So I get it because you just don't need to think. You're like, put on Arbalest, why not?
Yeah.
But
Honestly,
But it's
Still
also
still
like
unfortunate.
we use Arbalest because we don't like a lot of the things that are
It's
happening.
true.
Like match game and champions. You're like, put on Arbalest. I don't have to worry about
It's
it.
true. It's true.
honestly, I feel like the solution is instead of nerfing Arbalest is to give us more options to deal with match game and various ways
Yeah.
of breaking shields. You know, because it's like,
Yeah.
oh well, if you didn't stack that mod, then you got to equip Arbalest. It's one or the other. It's like, well, how about more options to deal with these champions? I think that would be better.
Or less
Or
champions.
how about less champions?
Yeah.
Okay, I disagree on that. I think the champions are fun. I like dealing with champions and having to figure out how you're gonna approach them.
Well,
But
this close, going to the graveyard. This close.
this close. But instead of nerfing a weapon that's fun, that also, answers that or solves that problem, I feel like we need more options to solve that problem. So, yeah. Where was I? Okay, Graviton's Lance.
Graviton. Yeah.
Gravi Lance. So the catalyst didn't help the weapon enough. They're changing it from hidden hand to granting Vorpal weapon and turnabout.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Graviton Lance
interesting.
is fun too. It's a fun pulse.
And void and explosions.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
All those things.
yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Grand Overture's most recent adjustment switched the missile to fire in bursts of 5, which allows for more granularity in unloading that damage. But sometimes you just want to all out fly at once. You want to unload everything.
True.
Reduce
Mhm.
time between bursts when in missile mode. Holding the trigger will now fire all missiles in a continuous burst. Tapping will do 5-round bursts. Awesome.
Cool.
Cold Heart, arc damage type update. Was it not arc damage before?
it was. Yes.
Okay. I don't understand these damage updates because I'm like, weren't they that before? But anyways, arc damage update. Cold Heart's exotic trait, more or less, is being a trace rifle. No longer fits in the world with legendary trace rifles. Sustain. So they sustain damage creates an ionic trace, and collecting ionic traces grants energy to all your abilities. So that's
Cool.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Doing damage with it gets you ability generator type of stuff.
That's the Warlock Stormclaw, isn't it? Tree?
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
Right?
Mhm. Yep.
Increased
Anyone
grace
can get
time.
Ionic Traces. Nice.
Yeah, that is really cool, actually. Increased grace time before the damage ramp clears by some small numbers. Prometheus lens, solar damage type update. Again, they did a damage type update. That was always solar, but
It was.
Do you reckon this is all like Solar and Arc 3.0 preparation?
It has to be, right?
Yeah, it's got to be, right? Because when they're saying Prometheus lens got solar damage type update, it's got to be in keeping with like the new.
yeah,
What the new damage types
Revamped.
do, I would
Yeah.
assume. Yeah.
Yeah.
right. Like it's
Yeah.
not solar 3.0. It's now solar 3.0 damage update. It was, yeah, that type of thing. So it generally needed some tweaks to be more viable. So sustained damage for Prometheus lens applies a more useful burn to targets.
I like that. More burn. Good.
More burn. Wave splitter. All right. Power level no longer cycles randomly on wave splitter. Damage output is the same as the old middle tier. Picking up an orb of power now grants 10 seconds of maximum power and caps at 20 seconds, up from 5 to 10. Now
Ooh.
suppresses targets while granted this mode by picking up an orb. So
That's
suppress.
Wave splitter seems pretty good.
It's an option.
Being able to suppress and stuff.
And its damage appetite has been updated.
Updated to void.
Void. Score.
Hell yeah.
Ostio Striga's projectile somehow rotated by 90 degrees and looked a bit weird. Huh. Corrected
that was
rotation. So they fixed that visual error. Lord of Wolves is kind of a
sideways.
yeah. Lord of Wolves is kind of a shotgun, but has its own custom tuning. It wasn't impacted by the previous shotgun stuff and was too strong with shotguns and fusion rifles getting reduced range. So they reduced damage fall off, start, and end by 25%. So it got a little snip snip, just like everything else getting snip snip. Perks. Good God. A lot of
Before
perks.
we hop into perks, this might be a good time to bid you adieu.
Okay.
Sounds good, Watts.
I have to get off at 8 for kitty cat medication and food and stuff. But I will
Sounds
be
good.
watching and lurking and judging.
That sounds intimidating.
Watching and lurking and judging
Looking and
you
judging.
immensely. I expect to hear all these numbers, Tefty.
Yeah.
0.95 to 0.9625? I need
Yeah,
those
when
numbers.
it feels right, I'll say the numbers. If not, I'm not saying them.
Have a good rest of the show. Good luck.
Bye,
You're
Watts.
almost there. Bye.
Almost there.
Bye.
Let's see. There we go. First try. Got a graphic up there. Okay. Moving on to perks. Actually, I don't think I read the perk section before this. So this would be relatively new for me. So, where an enhanced perk exists and an adjusted is needed, it's been adjusted in the same way. So that's good. Snapshot. Snapshot sights have felt mandatory on sniper rifles forever. With this change, they will feel about with the change of sniper rifle with snapshot will feel about the same, but one without snapshot will feel a lot snappier. Increased ADS animation speed scaler from 0.5 to 0.75 for special ammo weapons. Primary ammo weapons are unchanged from that. Opening shot has felt. Yep. Yeah.
So your other sniper rifles are. It's not going to feel as mandatory, but it's not changing how snapshot's feeling on your sniper
Yeah,
rifle.
like it's not a wasted perk if you still have it on a sniper rifle, but it's now not the only perk that you have to have. Otherwise, the sniper rifle is garbage. You know? Yeah. Opening shot has felt mandatory on shotguns forever, in large part because it gives part of its buff as a damage fall-off scalar. This isn't something we like on short-range weapons. You can still feel the range bump with this change unless range is already capped, but it won't let weapons push completely outside of their intended engagement range. So they removed damage fall-off scalar. They've increased range stat bonus from 20 to 25. Other stats from the perk are unchanged, 20 plus aim assist and all that stuff. So kind of, again, it like I feel like a lot of this is nipping outliers. You know, with the sandbox.
Yeah.
Yep. Full choke has been the go-to magazine perk forever, justified or not. With this change, other magazine options should be more competitive. Increase spread angle scale from 0.95 to some small numbers.
Say it all. Say it all. Watch is what is watching.
0.9625.
I think she went to feed her cat.
True.
Watts, if you heard that, you better say something in chat. She wasn't listening.
When do we get to the beers and Elden Ring section?
Yeah.
Let's skip the homework.
Let's see. Smoothbore. Reduce spread angle with some numbers. Cool. Desperado is a strong perk. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So what they did was increased fire recovery scalar by some numbers. Reduced duration from 7 seconds to 6 seconds. So they shortened up Desperado. And removed the PvE damage penalty. That's nice. Yeah. Get rid of them damage penalties, man. Air Assault was shelved a long time ago, but adding the Airborne effectiveness stat gave us the opportunity to turn it into a perk that actually does what it says on the description. With this change, Airborne gunplay while wounded will have much more effectiveness. Rebuilt now grants up to plus 60 Airborne effectiveness stat when wounded. Same trigger conditions as Eye of the Storm. So that's interesting. If you're being shot in the air and you have that thing, you get a massive boost. Right?
Air assault.
Yeah.
Which
It
honestly
goes both ways. You're being assaulted and you're doing the assaulting.
Yes, it does.
Air
It's a
assault
double
squared.
a double entendre.
that seems like it would come in handy, right? Because you're often getting shot when you're in the air.
Mm-hmm.
Being like unprotected and not in cover.
Using
right?
unprotected assaulting in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be good for potentially finishing an engagement. So you've already started, you've taken some damage, and maybe you've come around a corner, or you've gone back. You're using it to jump up in the air to get that last headshot off or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that's where it's going to come into play.
Yep. Mulligan was never quite strong enough to warrant a pick previously, but buffing it, would have been risky on special weapons. With this change, it's useful on rapid-fire primary weapons where you don't expect every shot to hit, occupying a similar role to triple tap, but inverted. Increased chance to return ammo from 20 to 35% on primary weapons. Unchanged on special and heavy. So, Mulligan on a fast-firing auto rifle was always fun. Yeah.
I haven't really used Mulligan a lot.
Yeah, it's one of those perks where it's like,
But that's me. I don't really miss my shots.
yeah, they
Ever.
call you Deadeye Kaba.
Drongo.
That's not what you call them.
Compulsive reloader shipped a little weak. I'm a compulsive reloader.
Yeah,
Yes,
agree.
same.
that did feel a bit weak, to be honest. I agree with that.
So they increased the reload stat buff from plus 40 to plus 50, added a 0.95x reload animation scaler. Adagio was allowing for a one-hit body shot with slug shotguns. While this is possible with other perks, such as Swashbuckler, the investment required to trigger the perk is much too low for that weapon bump. With this change, a slug shotgun with Adagio will be less of a monster in PvP, but will still be able to get headshots, kills at greater ranges. So they reduce damage bonus for shotguns from 30 to 20% for that. Mods. Icarus Grip will now grant airborne effectiveness. They removed airborne accuracy scaler, and now grants plus 15 airborne effectiveness stat. Adept Icarus Grip is now grants plus 15 effectiveness and plus 5 handling. So if you get the adept version, you get a little handling bonus. Get a little handy on there. Well, that was quite handy. Your perk, mod perk handy. That was quite a lot, quite a bit, wasn't it? Let's soak it in for a while, do some stretching, use the bathroom.
Smoke a bowl.
It was 420 recently, right? Wait, more weapon talk. Holy crap, there's more. Oh my sweet Jesus. What is this part? While the following isn't about weapon tuning, we felt it was important to bundle the following with the mega TWAB of upcoming Sandbox information to keep players like you in the know. Just before the season ended, we announced a list of weapons that would be rotating out of Destiny 2 activities. Things leaving the loot pool in Season 17. So in Iron Banner, you will not be able to get occluded finality sniper rifle and finite impactor hand cannon. So I think there's like one more Iron Banner coming up. So if you want that, right? That's your last chance. Nightfalls, the Comedian and Palindrome are getting shipped out. And then in Trials of Osiris, Shayr's Wrath, Submachine Gun, and the Messenger are going away.
Okay.
Messenger
and then
we missed. That's been a popular one, right?
Yeah, definitely. Then leaving the loot pools at the beginning of Season 18, which will begin early, September or whatever. Iron Banner, Peace Bond, Sidearm will be going away, and Archon's Thunder Machine Gun. Those will be going away. Then in the Nightfall, Plug 1. That's going away. And the Hothead Rocket Launcher. Plug 1 will be missed. Careless.
Yeah, that might be worth looking at again. Plug 1, and also Hothead's going to get that buff for the rocket launchers.
Oh, that's true.
Hothead might be pretty decent.
Yeah, I always feel like with rocket launchers, once you have a decent one, like you're good. Like a god roll rocket launcher doesn't really make that much of a difference, Of course,
I do like a good one. Yeah, you are a bit.
I'm a casual, so it doesn't really matter. I'm not like
it's crafted void.
I'm not soloing GMs every weekend.
Yeah, I think Hothead might be good if you don't have one. I mean, that might be a good one to go for.
Sure, yeah. Then Trials of Osiris, Eye of Soul Sniper Rifle, and the Summoner Auto Rifle will be going in Season 18.
I mean, Auto Rifle is going to be pretty spicy with the Flinch and the air accuracy, right? Or mostly Flinch. So Summoner might be decent to get as well.
Right. The way I see this, they're saying this stuff is going away. It's like, okay, well, what's coming in to the sandbox? What's going to be like, oh, it's fine that these are going away because I would much rather use this new stuff that's coming in that's the hot new. Season 18 is a ways out. Weapons included in our planned rotation are subject to change. So this could change. They might have debated us. It's possible. While we don't have any firm plans to share, we can note that the team is aware of the feedback surrounding weapon rotations and availability and looking at opportunities in the future to address it. To keep expectations in check, this is likely a longer-term investigation, so don't expect too much news over the next season. Once we have more information, we'll be sure to let you know.
Yeah, I saw DMG retweet like a screenshot of this to someone who was sort of making a comment on not enjoying rotations because essentially you're making the loot pool less, and why would you want less loot in a loot and shooter? And DMG sort of put a screenshot of that saying we're sort of aware of people giving that feedback. And I think from their point of view, they thought they're allowing people to do targeted farming of what they want to get by having smaller loot pools, I guess. But
Yeah.
I mean, when it comes to something like Trials of Osiris, you literally have engrams. You can target your thing anyway. So it seems much more about getting people to play each season rather than.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's definitely an element of like, what's the carrot to get more people in the playlist than normal. But I do think going towards that engram model of being able to tune your engram to the specific rewards you want, I feel like that's the future of the content for Destiny. Like for things like Nightfalls, like I think it would be cool if you could get materials and stuff that say, I want to focus on getting this specific weapon. So let me do that as opposed to having rotations and stuff.
Yeah, I think the thing that I enjoyed most with something like Trials was getting a bunch of tokens and then looking up what I wanted and then just redeeming, Reed's Regret until I got
got
Firing Line and Triple Tap or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that felt good.
Mhm.
And I think it comes up a bit later with the Trials with the bug, people getting adept weapons post 7 games. That was nice to be able to like farm that too. So it's sort of like, it's almost like you want them all to be there for engrams, but I do get like having smaller pools for random drops if you want to like target something in a certain season or a certain activity. Like if it's too big, then it's like you never get what you want.
Totally, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. But like I said, I do really like the targeting an engram for your loot.
Yeah.
I'd love to see more of that.
It's almost like if that was always like didn't get smaller, but the random drops were specific each season. So if you did want to do the Shayura's Wrath, you had more chances of getting that. I guess that's the weekly rotation though. That's what they already do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, if the weapon that you want is like 4 weeks away from rotation, it's like, well, I guess I'm not going to play that activity for 4 weeks, if that's all I'm looking for. There is a bit here about near-term abilities tuning. So they say, with weapons talk out of the way, let's shift back to some near-term conversations and happenings in D2. Well, in the near term, we do have some tuning for abilities and exotic armor in the Crucible as well. Next Tuesday, April 26th, a hot fix will drop, and it's going to include Axion Bolt base cooldown increased from 91 seconds to 152 seconds. Titan Barricade base cooldown when the Bastion Void aspect is equipped is now 82, up from 53 seconds. This matches the recharge rate of the Warlock Rift. Offensive Bulwark now provides 60% less bonus grenade energy regeneration in PvP modes. Whisper of Chains now provides 15% bonus damage resistance against players when near a stasis crystal, down from 25%. Unchanged versus PvE targets. Renewal Grasps, while equipped, they would increase the base cooldown of the Dusk Field Grenade from 62 to 152 seconds. The outgoing damage penalty applied to player victims in the Renewal Grasp's Dusk Field Grenade reduced from 50% to 20%. So damage unchanged versus PvE targets as well. And they say, stay tuned for more notes about the patch coming.
Copy
More
that.
to come. Yeah. Also, Gambit Labs.
Gambit Labs, baby.
Gambit Labs.
Mate, everyone's gonna come in by the time they get this section. Like, please.
Yeah. Like Gambit Labs also?
This one's pretty short. I mean, they're just adding a new mode that when you're the invader, if you're close enough to the bank, you start draining moats away.
Normal moat drain from having two. Let's see. Something new to have fight wall. There's instead of every second the invader is invading, one moat drains directly from your your bank.
Yeah. This is kind of similar to what we've been talking about lately, where the primary objective of the invader doesn't necessarily have to be to kill other players, but to drain moats.
Yeah, so you could drain, what is it, 15 seconds? You can drain 15 moats directly into your bank, out of their bank, as long as you stay safe and don't die in there as an invader.
Yeah.
Also gives you incentive to not get a team wipe because you want to stay in there and drain that bank. Drain that bank. Kill 3 and then ignore the 4th one. So you just go and like start a campfire in the back. Tell some stories.
Just chill out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Train the moats.
Drain the moats, man.
Hide and seek. Hide and seek. All right.
Yeah.
It's Gambito.
I still really dislike the boss phase to the point where my desire to play Gambit really has like dropped through the floor. Like I used to joke about Gambit being bad, being like, yeah, but I'd still play it. Now I'm just like, ooh, I do not like that boss phase.
No, you don't play it.
It's just, it puts me off so much.
Oh, look, I haven't played Gambit a lot.
Yeah. Like even the Pinnacle, I'm just like, ugh.
I'm still struggling with the Pinnacle grind. I'm still struggling with the Pinnacle grind this season. It's been bad because we haven't been doing our raids. It's gotten worse.
In freaking Elden Ring, man.
Dude, Elden Ring.
Got to cut yourself off.
I do.
Is that it? Did we finish the TWAB? Did we complete it? I think we did.
Pretty
right?
much.
There is a bit at the very end.
Fuck you, Mylan.
Listen. Listen here, Cobber. All right. He just talked about the trials and the pesky bug that slipped through with additional adept rewards for players on a confidence passage. But this is not bad. Well, good news, everyone. This was sort of a feature. While we discussed this in the patch notes on Thursday, I still wanted to take a moment to highlight this change. Over the last few seasons, we've had some great feedback and data on trials rewards. One piece of feedback specifically speaks to the flawless pool that's enabled each Sunday. While this creates a more welcoming environment for those on different skill levels in the non-flawless pool, we have heard feedback from those in the flawless pool that things feel a bit more competitive without much of a change to rewards output. Moving forward, any player in the flawless pool who is at the 7-win on any given passage will have chances for adept weapons to drop post-match, whether you still have a flawless passage or not.
Right.
So once you get 7 wins, and even if you're in the flawless pool, doesn't matter if you lose games on that passage, you have a chance for adept weapons.
Here's the problem. They have
Trials
destroyed the integrity of like the flawless pool. Actually, I'm sorry. Not that there was integrity or like the community stock and excitement of getting in the flawless pool. It's just who wants to sit in the flawless pool, even if you're going to get good rewards. So unless that changes and the population rises, so the flawless pool doesn't suck for just the normal player, I think it's just going to be business as usual.
Well, yeah, I mean, and this is where we already know that when there's a really good piece of loot in trials, the population goes up, and it's pretty fun. And then we know when it's not there.
Yeah, it's immediate stark
it's very
contrast.
Hard to
when people are in it for the stats versus in it for the loot, oh man, huge difference.
Yeah. But I think that is a good change in general, though. And maybe it will bump up the population. Who knows? Have to have a look.
I would love it if it did bump it up, but I don't think people are gonna. But aren't the adepts like just okay when it comes to those weapons? Like they're nice to have. Like if you have the option, great, but they're not game changers for those weapons, right?
I think if you're going for a certain role, like it's efficient for you to be there, right? Because you're getting potentially adept drops. You're also getting your tokens. So if you like last week, whenever the bug was, if you needed a Shayura's Wrath, you could sit in the playlist, farm the drops of it, and get tokens, and then go do your engrams too. So it was just a way for you to really chase a certain gun and roll.
Yeah. I mean, to each their own. You might be someone who really values that stuff, and like if that's the case, then you got the flawless pool ahead of you for the future stuff when that change gets active. Oh man.
I mean, like, yeah, I don't have a summoner, and maybe when summoner rotates in, maybe that's something I want to have a look at. But I'll let you know if I come in frazzled the week after.
Yeah. By the way, Watts brings up a good point too that like you can't forget about is that this doesn't kick in until the flawless pool goes active, which is on Sundays. So if you go flawless on Friday and then are done with trials because you've had enough, like you can't even like start farming that until Sunday when it becomes active. So yeah,
Okay.
there it is.
There
Your
it is.
trials wishes have been granted. Did we do the TWAB? Was that a meaty TWAB?
That was the first half. We need to move on to the second page.
Yeah. Good point.
Oh, you guys want to use some more? No.
Can we do an hour's worth of questions now?
Yeah. Well, where's those Twitter questions at?
Questions about cones and degrees and 0.95 versus 0.9625.
We did get some questions, but I'll put them in the pool for next week, and we'll answer them next week.
The flawless pool.
Yeah, I'll put them in the flawless pool. You'll
Nice.
get double rewards, double the normal rewards that we give you for getting a question
Adept
on the
DCP perks.
Yeah. Twice as much money awarded as last week.
Well, I'm looking forward to these changes. I think it's going to be a very interesting sandbox with especially air effectiveness. The game's going to feel different.
Oh, yeah.
Looking forward to
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, to be honest with you. I would like to see the game to return to more primary, not 100% primary, but a little bit more in the Crucible, and have a more satisfying in-air accuracy, I think is a benefit for sure, because that's really frustrating.
Yeah, like it's funny thinking back to year one. The main problem with it was that you had to go wait for a box on the wall. Everybody's like, "Oh, I got to get this box," and only one person can grab it, and that was your special ammo. That sucked.
The main problem with PvP in year one to me was the maps, and in PvE was the fact that it was double primary sucked in PvE.
The meta made it so you basically just hang out with your team and like look at lanes, and then as soon as someone steps out, like the person who's getting 2-shot or 2v1,
That's true.
It was going to die.
But I think a lot of that was the maps too.
I mean,
it was the weapon meta, and it was the maps.
we play some of the same maps right now.
We play some of them.
Yeah.
Some of them got taken away. Some of them just got returned and sucked still.
Yeah, I mean the maps can definitely be better, but like I think it's going to be in a pretty good spot if you like main gunplay but still want to use a shotgun or a sniper rifle. I think it's going to be decent.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it because you also have a bunch of ability. Like you also only got one, maybe two supers if you were really slaying in year one. Like your super regeneration time was so slow. Like if there was a mercy that got activated, you might not have been able to use your super even if you were slaying.
Yeah,
and so that sucked as well.
that's true.
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of good things to look forward to with the way things are changing. We'll see, though.
Yep.
It's one thing on
We'll
paper, and it can be a completely different beast once you're actually playing it.
That's the thing
Exactly.
about reading all those like 0.14 numbers. It's like it effectively means nothing until you actually get this shit in your hand and actually reading them out individually doesn't mean anything until you have them all collectively in the sandbox operating together too.
Yeah.
Because I think Mylan made some good points about like if you nerf all this stuff, what's it actually do?
Yeah.
We'll see. I'm
We
excited.
will see.
Any change is good in my opinion. Like the game needs to be refreshed on fundamental levels.
I'm really excited
It's
about
a
the next
very
season.
old game at this point.
I'm very excited about next season because they're saying like I said, the developers are like excited about what's coming. And that makes me go, okay, what is coming?
Yeah, what
I
is
think
coming?
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be good.
We're a month away from the next season. They're dropping this kind of a TWAB. What's in the next TWAB?
Yeah, and they're getting
The one after
excited
that.
about the content that's
Look,
coming next season.
Yeah.
I'm predicting the Solar or whatever, Zola 3.0, and then I'm predicting a little bit of juicy lore at some point, some
I
web
hope so.
lore. I reckon we'll get some web lore or something. We're obviously going to get some introduction to what the season's going to happen. That's 2 weeks. What the other 2 weeks are, I don't know.
Yeah. And then Crow's going to become the speaker. Awesome.
Exactly.
Cool. Well, that's the show. That's the episode. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it. That's episode 286 of DCP, the Fat TWAB edition. Shout out to our Patreon members and our Twitch subs for supporting the shows. We appreciate you guys. I believe Firing Range is going to be back next week, digging even further into those juicy numbers and breaking out their calculators. So
I can't wait to see that episode. That's gonna be a good episode.
That's gonna be a good episode. Yeah,
those guys are gonna have their like little accountant, green hats on and
the
their graphing calculators out and protectors in their pockets.
Yeah. So that's the show. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye.